mocking Chris Christie's weight. I'm not a Christie fan. But Nick Cale stating that he believes George W. Bush let 3,000 people die because of some daddy issues was the breaking point. Did you say that?
No, I said that the reason we went over to Afghanistan and Iraq was to finish what old man Bush couldn't do, and that was get Saddam 10 years earlier.
I laughed out loud when I said it. I was like, if you did say that, that's hysterical.
I said that like a month and a half ago, so I'm glad that I'm living in that guy's head rent-free.
It's a woman.
Her too.
If he really believes that, he has no cause to complain about Biden. This is not a serious show. If that's what you want, congratulations. I'd grown to appreciate Dawn Stensland, but even she just seems to be going along for the ride now.
Oh.
There we go.
Oh.
So, sorry.
Interesting. So he's or she's one of the few that are not in love with the show. Weird.
Sheila writes, this is, Dawn, are you sure about this? Are you sure about hate mail here?
Yep, I'm sure.
Don't trigger in the this is like female on female crime today.
Sheila writes, why are there so many women in media with constant sore throats, like Dawn? And that Woody Woodpecker laugh of hers is so annoying. It's insulting to have to listen to it constantly. Why is she on all morning? Why can't she stick to her own show so I don't have to listen?
Jesus.
Wow. Woody the Wood...
Maybe she's talking about me because I think I have a Woody Woodpecker laugh. It's fine.
Yeah.
Or, well, I will say you constantly will do the Kamala laugh.
Yeah.
And I wonder, do it. Does she think that's me laughing?
I don't know.
I don't know how you'd ever mix up Dawn and Kamala. One of them can actually complete a sentence. That would be Dawn.
I've never been told I laugh like Woody the Woodpecker, but...
Me neither.
I don't know, maybe.
Is it Woody the Woodpecker or Woody Woodpecker?
Woody Woodpecker, whatever.
And while we're correcting everybody, Opelka wanted to check in. I always love these public corrections from Opelka on Twitter. He gives a great point. He adds to the content that we're talking about, and he tagged Dawn and myself. And then he had to tell me that Porsche is actually Porsche. It's 2 syllables. Yeah, so I'm really concerned about how I pronounce a car that I can't afford.
In Exile in Jersey, who loves to trigger me, also says, enough with the politics and economy talk. I'm here for the YouTube likes and the subscription show.
Hold on a minute. So we got one person who says we're catering to 12-year-olds, and the other one says enough of the serious stuff.
This is the best of Kale and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Standing at the edge of a rocky shore, you breathe in the cool, salty air, watching the sun disappear on the horizon. Across the globe, someone begins their day along a sandy beach, listening to the rhythm of the crashing waves. You each envision a world beneath the water, vibrant life in every imaginable form. Now, imagine it's all gone. What was once a place of wonder and beauty is now a dull, lifeless wasteland. Food, jobs, medicine, all gifts from the ocean, all gone. Time is running out to protect our oceans, and without our love, everything the oceans provide can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our oceans. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
So, what's the asking price on this house?
You'd probably be more comfortable living somewhere else.
How long a lease is the landlord looking for?
Well, I'm sure you can afford to live here, but...
What are the schools like in this district?
Yeah, we have twins in the 5th grade.
This neighborhood isn't really for your kids. You know what I mean?
If you're Black, Latino, Asian American, or Middle Eastern, and a real estate agent or rental agent says anything like this, you know what it means. You're being discriminated against. Housing discrimination because of race, color, or national origin is against the law. If you believe you've experienced housing discrimination, contact HUD. Go to HUD.gov/fair housing. That's HUD.gov/fair housing. Fair housing. The law is on your side. A message from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We have an embarrassment of riches on tonight's program, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of both guests and content. Where do I start? With the latest indictment rumors, with New York Post exposés concerning former President Obama's alleged sexuality. I even threw a Batman story in the stack for producer Dan, just because I missed him so much last week.
I know you did.
Welcome back, babe.
Yeah, you can say it.
I came right out with it.
You did.
Didn't even need permission.
No, I wouldn't have given you permission in the first place.
I know you wouldn't have, and that's why we love you.
It's always nice to feel missed by someone that you always want to feel missed most by. I just pulled a Kamala there.
I was going to say. I miss you so much, Matt. Let me show you in a Venn diagram. I love Venn diagrams. Actually, that was more Woody the Woodpecker.
That was more Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah. Well, you know.
It's all right. You tried. It just didn't work.
I am not ashamed that I can't be Kamala. No one should ever aspire to that. But we appreciate all of you aspiring to join us here on the Matt Rooney Show once again, 7 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night here on 1210 WPHT. And I am, of course, the aforementioned Matt Rooney, coming to you over the radio waves, but also via the YouTube. You can head on over to youtube.com/@1210 WPHT to take in tonight's program. And I wasn't just puffing. Oh, what a program we have for you. Not only is our stack of content fat and thick, like Chris Christie's stack of pancakes when he goes to a cheap buffet somewhere up in New Hampshire, but, the guests. We have for you, coming up in our second of 3 hours, Chairman Bob Eugen of the New Jersey Republican Party. He'll be joining us to talk about election 2023 in New Jersey, and also maybe handicap some of the big races. Don't forget, we have those off-year elections in New Jersey that are going to decide who controls the legislature and whether there's a check on Phil Murphy. And then immediately after, we will be joined in studio, an in-studio interview on a Sunday. Look at us being ambitious.
I love New Jersey.
We love New Jersey. I live there. I have to pay taxes there.
Remember, we are New Jersey.
Well, we know, Phil. We know. But we're going to be joined in studio by Chris Del Barello. If you don't know who Chris Del Barello is, you are going to see him on your television sets, assuming you still watch the TV. If not, you're going to be seeing the ads online, because his race for state senate this year in New Jersey in the 4th District, which takes in Washington Township, for those of you that need a municipality to try to visualize what we're talking about in South Jersey. This is kind of a Gloucester County-centric district. His state senate race is going to cost millions of dollars. It's going to be the biggest, highest targeted race in New Jersey this year, and it may very well decide whether Republicans have a chance to take over the state senate. He joins us here in the studio to talk not just about his race, but also some very interesting comments he made this week. He made a campaign promise, which is always dangerous when candidates do this, but it's one that I think would be very impactful for my fellow South Jerseyans. He's promising to essentially veto one of Phil Murphy's state school board representatives should he get elected. Now, how can a senator veto something? Again, we'll get to that, and I promise I won't make it boring. It's going to be interesting. And then, in the final hour of tonight's show, because we still love you over there on the western banks of the Delaware and don't want you to think you're forgotten, we have Mark Hawk, who joins us at about 9:25, I think is what we said, Daniel.
So it's not Mike Hawk?
What'd you say?
Mike Hawk?
What did I say?
No, I'm asking.
No, it's Mark Hawk.
Okay. I just want to...
Did I say Mark?
No, you said it correctly. I just wanted to yes. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't Mike Hawk.
Yes.
You clearly didn't get the joke, but that's fine. Continue.
What? No, tell me what the joke is.
No, it's fine. No,
this is what you're here for.
It's fine.
Because if there's some Gen Z humor that's going over my head, I need to know.
It's not really Gen Z humor. You just didn't get it. It's fine. It's fine.
Is it not just a Gen Z thing, Matt? You're just stupid.
Yeah, a little bit.
Tell us what your joke is. Because if I didn't get it, chances are there are plenty of individuals out there in the audience.
Anymore. It's not funny.
It's not funny anymore?
His name is Mark Hawk, not Mike Hawk. Say it real fast. Don't say it real fast, but say it in your head
say
real
it real fast, but only once I get my finger on the dump button?
Yeah, say it in your head real fast.
Oh, come on.
Continue.
See, I think you do this right after I say that I missed you.
Yeah.
To try to make me not miss you.
Yup.
It has to be deliberate. It's the only possible explanation. But you may have heard over the course of the past couple weeks, Mark, who's best known for defeating Joe Biden's Justice Department that targeted him for his pro-life activism, he's decided that, he's a glutton for punishment. I guess someone has to be, and he's going to wade into the Pennsylvania 1st Congressional District primary this year and challenge Brian Fitzpatrick. Promises to be a barn burner. We're going to talk to him about it in the 9 o'clock hour. 855-839-1210 is the number if you're a traditionalist and you want to call in the old-fashioned way. Put it in your phone, write it in your arm, however you choose to do it. If you want to call in and participate and Dan thinks it's worthy, you just might have a chance to get on the air with yours truly. I will tell you this at the onset of tonight's program. I had a fun weekend. I hope you have all had a great weekend, too. I hung out with friends. I even got a date night squeezed in with the lovely Jacqueline. We went out for dinner on Friday night, which as parents of 2 young children, my fellow parents out there, very difficult. You have to beg, borrow, and steal to be able to carve out that time. So the fact that we got to sit there and talk to each other without having to pick up Cheerios off the floor or taking a kid to the bathroom 6 times, nothing better in the world. Nothing better in the world. But I was paying attention to the news, and there is plenty of it out there. And I think, Dan, you tell me if you think I'm off base here. The New York Post won the weekend in terms of content.
Yeah.
What headlines? Both profound and maybe profoundly inane, depending upon your perspective, but fun nevertheless. And you and I were talking about this one right before we came out tonight. Barack Obama, the forgotten president these days. We're talking about the most recent president, Donald Trump. We're talking about the current guy, Joe Biden, nearly nonstop, and that's not going to let up anytime soon with these initial Republican presidential debates right around the corner at the end of the month. But don't forget, Obama's out there doing his Netflix documentaries, trying to behave like an octopus. I think people forget this. He's a rare president that has maintained a home in D.C. after leaving the White House. It's a tradition going all the way back to Washington that when your time is up, you get out of town. Because we don't, at least we're not supposed to have monarchs in this country. The entire foundation of the republic came about because we rejected monarchy, right? You know that even if you learned history in a teachers union-dominated district, right? That's how America came to be. That's why we have the 4th of July. He's still hanging out in D.C. Why is that? Because Obama made a very conscious decision to keep his hooks in the Democrat Party. He wanted to continue to control it. Some of it's probably just because of the personality that he is. Maybe he didn't have a lot of faith in Joe Biden. Can't imagine why that would be. That sterling intellect that is the incumbent commander-in-chief of this great nation. Well, the challenge with that is he continues to subject himself to scrutiny. If he was, doing what George W. Bush does, which is hang out down in Texas at your ranch, painting watercolors. If he was Jimmy Carter, somewhere building houses, at least before Jimmy Carter got sick, perhaps less attention would be paid. But Obama is still out there working behind the scenes, behaving in a very political way. And it attracts the kind of stuff that we learned about in this story. Dan, you read this one, right?
Yeah.
I think you actually maybe sent it to me.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you saw that one right away. This is the kind of news you go in for.
Oh, yeah.
You love the gossiptainment, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you do. But if you don't know what I'm talking about and you're thinking, Matt, get to the point, it's been a long weekend, I didn't get to see this. New York Post on Saturday, Barack Obama told X, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination. Letter shows.
I mean, so do I. I can't go a day without doing it. So, it's just kind of normal. I don't know if you do it. You seem like a man who would, dressing with that heinous shirt on. But
no, see, this is where you're wrong. There is no chance that I am gay because I dress so poorly. This shirt screams, fat, white, heterosexual, needs his wife to dress them when they go out for dinner.
Before the show, you told me that you're riding an electric scooter. That's pretty gay.
They're fun, though.
I'm sure they are.
I didn't buy one.
You know what else? Barack Obama thought men in his imagination were fun as well.
Well, so we're told.
Yeah.
Right? And just to be clear, this isn't some anonymous staffer that is now speaking to the New York Post, which the New York Post, I think it's fair to say, it leans right, at least in terms of the news they curate. Is that fair, Dan?
Yes.
So, consider the source, because we always want to be fair about those kinds of things. But this isn't what you usually get from the media, that there's some anonymous bartenders, barbers, ex-wife's pool boy. You don't have a name, you have no way to trace them, and they make a profound accusation, a salacious accusation, and then there's no way to hold that person accountable. We know who this is. This is a 40-year-old letter that was written to an ex-girlfriend. This is a woman who, Alex McNear is her name?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they dated back.
1982.
They dated back in the early 80s. And this is the full quote from the letter. In regard to homosexuality, I must say that I believe this is an attempt to remove oneself from the present. A refusal, perhaps, to perpetuate the endless farce of early life. You see, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination. Obama was 21 years old at the time. So he was a tad bit younger than producer Daniel. Just a tad, a wee bit. So there you go. And here's a little bit more, by the way. I can't leave this part out. My mind, and Dan, you say this to me all the time. This is one of your favorite quotes. My mind is androgynous to a great extent, and I hope to make it more so until I can think in terms of people, not women as opposed to men. But in returning to the body, I see that I have been made a man, which in of itself is controversial for today's Democrat Party. But let's put a pin in that for a second. Obama wrote, I see that I have been made a man, and physically in life I choose to accept that contingency.
In one of the pictures, he looks like he would have been Jeffrey Dahmer's prime suspect or prime target.
Well, that's a little dark, Daniel.
It's not. If you look at the documentary, it's, pretty much his type. And if you look at him, like, yeah, he would be a prime target. You can see him at the gay bars, Yeah,
and look, to quote the great Jerry Seinfeld.
What is he doing?
I said quote, not impersonate.
Oh, okay, well.
But to quote the great Jerry Seinfeld, not that there's anything wrong with that, right? That's Jerry's favorite quote on the subject, his famous quote on the subject. Clearly, this is a little bit different. Called me old-fashioned. He's a married man with kids, so a little inappropriate, you think. But here's my takeaway from the New York Post story, because I've had some friends and some listeners message me and say, you're going to talk about this tonight, you're going to talk about it tonight. I said, yes, I want to talk about it. Not just because it's a fun story, for the same reason the New York Post ran with it, but it goes to the heart of the Obama years, and specifically the problem with the Obama years, which is that Barack Obama has always been a fraud. He was presented to the American people as a transformative figure, but his radical history, his extremely far-left ideas, his associations from his slightly earlier life with people like Jeremiah Wright. Remember the Reverend Jeremiah Wright?
How could I forget?
I don't think you were born when Barack Obama was elected in 08.
I was born.
How old were you?
8.
Yeah, you were 8. Yeah. So you don't remember.
I remember when he was elected.
You don't remember when you're 8 years old.
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
What do you remember?
I was in the voting booth with my parents.
You remember going with the magnificent Linda.
Yes.
To vote. Well, I don't want to assume she voted for Barack Obama. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. But you remember going?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't remember what I had for breakfast half the time, but okay. That's fine. Well, I guess that's fair. I have a very early memory of George Bush Sr. getting sworn in. And I would have been younger than you. So, yeah, maybe that's a thing. In any event, All of that was hidden from the American people, or at least obscured from their vision, because the media wanted their guy, and they didn't do the due diligence that you would expect of a journalist, at least if you expected that a journalist would actually apply their profession, right? Apply their trade, apply their skills, actually do their job. And as a result of that deliberate attempt by the media to let this guy get into office with as little scrutiny as possible, you see what came of it. Our country has been harmed in many ways by the Obama years that would take more than 3 hours of this program to catalog. In many ways, it kind of brought us to the past that we're at today. Just one example, if you allow me to give it to you, the weaponization of the Justice Department. Everyone's talking about Merrick Garland, and they should, because what's happening with these federal indictments is an absolute disgrace. But where did that start? It started with Eric Holder. Eric Holder, Merrick Garland, hold my beer, probably the most biased chief lawyer in the history of the United States. And obviously you're biased towards your employer. I'm talking in terms of not applying justice equally, applying in a partisan manner. All of this goes back to Obama. And we don't, even today, clearly know who this man is. We don't. And I'm not even getting into the whole birther thing. So don't call in and want to talk about birth certificates for me for no other reason than you don't even have to get to that.
But where was he born, Matt? You got to know, where was he born? Let's bring up the birth certificate. Where was he born? Because it wasn't the United States.
I like that you followed that up with the sniffs.
Yeah.
Where was he born, Matt?
I just want to know. I just want to know where he was born, because if it's not the United States, where was it?
It raises a secondary point. We are repeatedly told, as Republicans, as conservatives, libertarians, however you want to classify yourself, if you're not on the leftist, you're in this category I'm going to talk about. You're constantly being told that thing that you just espoused, that's hateful, that's bigoted, that's a conspiracy theory, that's misinformation, that's not science. Day in and day out. And COVID is, clearly the biggest example we've ever had of this phenomenon. It's getting to a point now where you're constantly being gaslit. Should you ever let them tell you again that it's not okay to question something? I certainly hope not. And Barack Obama is a chief example. We have no idea who this man is that led this country for 8 years. The only thing we know about him is that he's a hardcore leftist, because the proof is in the pudding. He radicalized, forget the federal bureaucracy itself, he radicalized our politics. And we haven't recovered yet, and we may never recover. So there you go. That's my takeaway from the story alleging that Barack Obama used to have sex with men, at least in his mind. It's just further validation of why people like myself were screaming back in 2008, hey, maybe shouldn't we ask some questions about this guy? Maybe shouldn't he have to answer some tough questions? Is it really a good idea that every time someone tries to challenge him or asks a difficult question about his past, his beliefs, whatever, they're immediately shouted down as a racist? Would have been really good to have that traditional vetting that we ordinarily have when someone's running for high office. We didn't get it. We're poorer for it. 855-839-1210 is the number here on the Matt Rooney Show. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we will kick the show off into high gear. We will delve into all of the various topics we have prepared for you tonight. You're welcome in advance. And, of course, we will have, in addition to our guests, Twit Talk at the end of the third hour. If we could squeeze in Dan's Fact of the Week, we will do that as well. Do we have one?
Of course we do.
I knew we would. I knew we would. You never let us down. We also have a Chris Christie update, one of our newest segments, which we're going to have at least until he drops out, probably sometime after New Hampshire, before Super Tuesday. We shall see. And whatever else we can possibly cram into this program. It's my promise to you every week. We prepare you for the week ahead by looking at what was relevant from the week gone by. So let's play some ads, make some money, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Heavy rains and flooding may find you with water damage, which could lead to a mold problem. An unexpected fire will require you to act quickly with proper fire restoration. Pro Action Restoration is here to help, and they've been helping your friends and neighbors for over 20 years. Need emergency help? Pro Action Restoration has you covered 24/7. Get help now. ProActionRestoration.com. And yes, they can advocate for you with your insurance company. ProActionRestoration.com.
AM radio provides always-on news, sports, talk, traffic, and weather reports. It also delivers vital emergency information when your community needs it most. A new bill in Congress would ensure AM radio stays in your car, because when cell and internet services are down, this free emergency service is critical. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
This is Larry Steinhess of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 five-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Your official home for Penn State football and basketball is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app. Listen to every Nittany Lions game on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Back as promised on the Matt Rooney Show, 855-839-1210. And you can head on over to the YouTube chat. We can now say with confidence that the room cam is live and operational. Was not operational last week because producer Dan was not here. But it's up there tonight. So you can head on over there. You can spar with other listeners of the Matt Rooney Show if you think it's appropriate. You can comment on my festive floral shirt. I don't know if the lovely Bella will be joining us in the chat this evening. Dan's, Dan's disproportionately lovely, intelligent, attractive girlfriend. She'll be in there at some point. It's a hoot of a time, and you even weigh in from time to time.
Yeah, I do.
It's not just part of your job; it's a labor of love. You love it. You're a man of the people. You love the people.
I guess so.
I have a theory.
Beautiful people. They're very beautiful, beautiful people.
Very beautiful people.
Sorry.
Dan Valdez, only 5% Hispanic. Huge fan, though.
It's not even 5.
Huge fan. It's not even 5?
No.
No, you told me it was like 1/8 or something like that.
It is. It's very low.
All right, well, 1/8 is not 5%, Chief.
You said it was 5%.
No,
You
I
just
said it was
said
5%,
it was 5%.
and you said it was not even that.
Yes.
Which implies it's less.
Yes.
So what percentage is it?
We're literally saying the same thing right now.
No, we're not.
You said it's 5%. I said it's not even 5. And then I said it was 1/8. So what percentage is 1/8?
1/8 is 12.5%. I just did the math on my phone.
Yeah, you're wrong. That's fake news.
What are you talking about?
Fugazi.
It's black and white mathematics.
No, your calculator's wrong.
You know what? Gen Z, man. You guys make up your own facts.
Pretty much.
And that's why we keep you, because of your intellectual honesty when you're being dishonest.
Yeah, I don't really care.
I know you don't. I have a theory, though, about this whole Obama thing. We talked about it in the last segment. New York Post story, letter from 1982 to Barack Obama's ex-girlfriend saying that he routinely fantasizes about having adult relations with other men. At least he did back in the 1980s. Is it possible that Obama wanted this out there? I started out the hour talking about this story and explaining that one of the things that makes Barack Obama unique is his quest for post-presidential relevance. Most presidents, even though they maintain some hand in party affairs, right? They show up at the convention, they give a speech, they get paid by corporations, they fly around the world, and yada, yada, yada. They write their book. Generally, they have stayed, at least traditionally, out of partisan politics. Not true of Barack Obama. So that means that Barack Obama is necessarily very concerned with his image. And while we're talking about Gen Z here, Dan, what is something that is very popular with your generation right now on this front?
Well, there's a lot that could be.
Yeah.
I mean, you have.
I'll give you the answer up front. Sexual ambiguity.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I was
yeah.
That was the thing. I was also Bella says you're right. So
yes, sexual ambiguity. It's cool.
I was just gonna say that. You didn't give me time to think, but I was gonna say that.
You would. I know you would have gotten there, Chief.
Yeah.
I have every confidence in you.
Yeah, thank you.
But that's what it is. And that's why if you look at the polls they've done, to the extent you can put any stock in them, the massive increase we've seen in recent years in how young people identify, it isn't necessarily, that we've got way more gay people. I self-identified way more lesbians, way more transgender. You've got this huge swath of Gen Z and a little bit of the millennial population now saying that they are non-binary, that they go both ways, as we used to say when I was a youngin', right? Is that something in the water? Is that some natural phenomenon that's happening at the time of birth? It sounds like social contagion to me. It sounds like it's something that is hip and interesting to say about yourself on a college campus. And as a result, astute politicians that are most interested in staying relevant with that demographic, I suppose, may find some utility in themselves being viewed as sexually ambiguous. So I would not be surprised if Barack Obama doesn't weigh in on this at all, even if it does have legs. And you're going to be told the reason he's not weighing in on it is because, he's not going to dignify this with his attention, because God knows he's doing so many other important things, playing tennis with his wife in Martha's Vineyard or however else they occupy their days. Some of it may be because he doesn't mind this story having oxygen. It may actually serve his political purposes with a demographic that is increasingly coming to prominence in American elections. So, just one man's theory. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. It happens rarely, but it does occur. I'm man enough to admit that. And Dan thinks there's some truth to it. So there you go. That's how you know it's an opinion that has some merit. So we shall see. We'll track this one. I found someone online who wasn't commenting, by the way, on the Barack Obama situation specifically. But I'd imagine this is someone, this gentleman you're about to hear from, who would very much like Barack Obama more if he thought that Barack Obama was regularly having meetups with men, at least in his mind space. This is from Libs of TikTok, one of our favorite Twitter accounts of all time. I'm sure it's one of yours too. Or I got to stop saying Twitter. One of our favorite X accounts. I guess that's the proper phraseology now. Yeah. I still haven't figured that out.
Accounts.
Yeah. Accounts. So, Elon at some point has to clarify the new branding. But in any event, this gentleman delivered a soliloquy that was picked up by Libs of TikTok where he explains the rules for what makes you straight or perhaps not straight in the realm of finding a transgender man attractive. I'm going to give you a warning up front, not for explicit content, because we regularly push the boundaries here at the Matt Rooney Show. This is a make sure you have Advil or Tylenol or aspirin present warning, because this is going to hurt your head when you hear how positively stupid some people are in modern American society and still manage to find a platform for themselves. So with that introduction, and without further ado, here you go.
Some straight men are attracted to trans women who haven't had bottom surgery. This is very disconcerting and confusing to women when they find this out, because they think, well, if she hasn't had bottom surgery, then, and you want to play with that part of her, then you can't be 100% straight. But that doesn't make sense, because you have to remember that these are still women. Trans women are women. They are female. The attraction to her is from the waist up, but it can also be from the waist down. And they can experience pleasure playing with that person from the waist down. But that act, again, doesn't indicate a sexual orientation. It indicates an attraction to the person, to the woman, the trans woman. Actually, some of these men are attracted to gender fluidity, in that the person exhibits both male and female body parts. And that's attractive to them. Just like some gay men are attracted to trans men who haven't had bottom surgery. That doesn't make them bi, it doesn't make them straight.
Can I imagine that I really like the Green Day in the back of that.
Yeah, I want to know what the significance of that is.
I really like I think the Green Day in the back really adds to it.
Are they having a second wind or something? Green Day, a second life?
Well, no, their singer just hates America, so.
Is that what it is?
I don't
Just
know
because it's like a hate America thing, so therefore they must be appropriate content for lefties?
Also, the fact that he said that a gay man, whatever, doesn't like, whatever he said. I was like, well, yeah, that's why they're gay, because they like that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally what it is.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. I'm going to speak here with infallibility, okay? Think of me as Pope Matthew I. If you're a guy and you're sexually attracted to someone that has a penis, then you're gay. I hate to break it to you, assuming that's something that's hard news for you. Because, again, as Jerry says, not that there's anything wrong with that.
You're gay.
But, right, you're gay. You heard it here on the Matt Rooney Show. Pull over, take a deep breath, get past the grief stage, and get on with acceptance. Am I wrong, Dan?
No, but I'm saying if you're bisexual, then you would love a trans man or a trans woman. You would absolutely love it.
Well, we'd have to submit that to this guy.
I'm just saying,
to vet your statement.
Bisexual like both, so you get the top and the bottom. So like you'd be in heaven if you're bi, right? By his logic.
Well, by his logic though.
Yeah.
But his logic, I don't think lines up.
Well,
you're not so sure.
I don't know what his logic is.
Yeah, I was going to say. I don't think he knows. He contradicts himself about 3 times during the course of that rant. And it's so sad. And I saw some of the comments on Libs of TikTok, and they weren't even as mean as they ordinarily are over on Twitter, on X. People were just saying to him, come on, man, like, you're gay. Like, just accept it. You know? Be yourself. But this is where we are, to my point about this Barack Obama story where, look, it wasn't me that said it first, but politics.
Thanks, Obama.
What are you thanking Obama for?
That's just the meme, The meme, people are like,
yeah,
oh,
thanks, Obama.
It's like, oh, well, this person's gay. Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah. Oh, you get a free phone? Thanks, Obama.
That was a big one.
Yeah.
The
Obama phone.
Some kind of natural catastrophe. Thanks, Obama.
Yep.
No, that's true. But in this particular context, when we're talking about people delighting in the fact that there's all of this alleged ambiguity in sexuality, right? It's a cultural fad. And the point that I was making is that we know that politics is downstream from culture. The culture guides the way the politics is going. So when you view all of this content, you have to look at it through that lens. It's all artificial. A lot of this is social contagion. But you have to realize the extent to which certain people are intending to manipulate other people by leaning into it. That's what we do here on the Matt Rooney Show. We teach you not what your opinion should be. We help you interpret this stuff.
We tell you what you should think. That's what he's trying to tell you.
No, what I'm telling them is we teach people how to think, how to interpret information.
Yeah.
It's the opposite, Daniel.
Yeah.
I tell you what to think because you cannot, and just you specifically, cannot be trusted.
Yeah.
To make good decisions.
Yeah, I'm actually liberal.
Flaming liberal.
Yeah. Yeah.
You drive in here in an electric car that actually doesn't run on electricity. It runs on Cheerios.
Yep. Yep.
You voted for Elizabeth Warren.
I did.
In the last primary.
I did.
People don't know that about you in real life.
Yeah, big Bernie guy.
Big Bernie guy. You're a burner, Bernie bro?
Yeah, I feel the burn.
You feel the burn?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like something you should see a doctor about. 855-839-1210 is the number. Steaming through our numero uno. Quick break. Back with more in just a moment.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. Isn't it time to invest in yourself? Start at PI Dental Center. With the latest in digital technology to state-of-the-art treatment, PI Dental Center is a full-service practice. 2 board-certified specialists, Dr. Glenn Wolfinger and Dr. Robert Slough, are originators of the Teeth in a Day protocol, a revolutionary treatment that delivers fixed teeth on the same day as the implants are placed. Hey, I've been a patient of PI Dental for over 20 years, and now is the time for you to invest in yourself. Visit PIDentalCenter.com to request your new patient evaluation.
Bring Bryce home on Sunday, August 27th at 1:35 when the Phillies face the Cardinals, and kids 14 and under receive a Philadelphia Water Ice Bryce Harper Funko Premium Vinyl figure. Order tickets now at Phillies.com. Join us as we end August with the Angels. The Phils host the Halos for a 3-game series on Monday, August 28th and Tuesday, August 29th, both at 6:40, and Wednesday, August 30th at 1:05. Order tickets now at Phillies.com.
It's the silver anniversary at Spring Dance Hot Tubs. You know, this month marks their 25th year of business, and you can save up to $2,500 on select hot tub models from Hot Spring and Caldera Spas. Dawn Stensland here. I love my Spring Dance hot tub. It's the best thing. It's like a little vacation in my own backyard. For me, after a tough workout, a stressful day, and sometimes just to reconnect, have a little glass of wine, sit in the Spring Dance hot tub, let their jets do the magic. When you buy a new hot tub or swim spa, ask how you can apply for 0% financing for up to 60 months. Come celebrate 25 years of relaxing and goodness across the Delaware Valley with my friends at Spring Dance Hot Tubs. You can find them in Jamison, Exton, Plymouth Meeting, and Marlton. Online at springdancehottubs.com. springdancehottubs.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Improve your gas mileage by properly inflating tires and taking your car in for a tune-up. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Hey, Warminster, we know your favorite station is WPHT.
Tell your smart speaker to play 1210 WPHT.
Got bad news for you, Producer Dan. Another dead whale at the Jersey Shore this weekend. It's happened again. Saturday, around, let's think. I want to say it probably happened around 11 a.m. News reports began coming in, and we've seen this same story play out far too many times now. A dead marine mammal seen floating off the coast of New Jersey. It was first reported by News 12, which is an outlet out of North Jersey. And I don't know what kind of whale this is. I missed that day in school where I guess maybe you learn how to identify which is which. It looks like it might be a humpback. I don't know. Which are the ones that have the deep grooves? Yeah, I speak whale, but I can't necessarily always identify which is which.
I have no idea. I only know about a killer whale. That's the ones I know, and a blue whale.
Yeah, which we don't have killer whales.
I know
here.
a sperm whale.
Sperm whale.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we all know why you like that one, because you think the name is funny. Because of your immature sense of humor.
They're fun. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. But it was seen floating about 2 miles off the coast of Deal, New Jersey, which is up in Monmouth County. So the further northern end of the Jersey coast. And then ultimately, it washed ashore yesterday afternoon, Long Beach Island, which Greg Stocker on this station has very strong opinions concerning whether or not Long Beach Island is North Jersey or South Jersey. But I think we can all agree it's kind of the gateway. We don't need to get into it. It's well-traveled territory around here on the station. But needless to say, most people in our listening area, if they don't go to LBI, they at least know what LBI is. It's the saddest thing on the planet to see the Great Jersey Shore marred by these continued marine mammal deaths. And we're now in August. We're still in peak season. So many tourists from all over the country heading down to these wonderful beaches to enjoy a family vacation. And you wake up in the morning and there's a giant dead whale just sitting on the beach. And the police are there and they're bringing in construction equipment because these things are obviously so massive. It's not as if, you can get a bunch of volunteers and strap some ropes into them, right? And deal with it that way. You need heavy equipment to get it done. And the gaslighting, of course, continues. Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey and the Biden administration and all of the Dems that have enabled the offshore drilling activity, specifically the use of technology to map the ocean floor and figure out where these giant pinwheels, these wind turbines should go, seems like the likely culprit. But we're told by Biden, we're told by Murphy, oh, no. It's online shopping and the resulting uptick in commercial traffic off the coast of New Jersey.
People they really want to online shop. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, they just really want, those new plates from Amazon, Starting Christmas shopping early. I think that's what it is. I think they're 100% on online shopping. I don't think we should blame it on anything else.
Yeah, I mean, you ordering your Keurig pods.
Yeah. I don't
Swimmies for your kid to go to the pool. Whatever it is that you order on Amazon, it's your fault. Which, don't let that get by you for just a second. Them blaming you shopping online for killing whales, it's not just a straw man. It's an attempt to shift blame to you. You wanted the convenience that's associated, all the conveniences associated with modern life. You don't want to have to go to the store. You want these things dropped off by the blue Amazon van outside your house. So these dead whales, their carcasses can be laid on your doorstep, figuratively speaking. It's insidious. And they blame climate change or climate crisis or whatever it is we're calling it on this particular week. It's probably changed since we last talked about it last week. I've seen no evidence, and I frequent the Jersey Shore as much as anybody else, that the sea levels are remarkably higher, the waters are significantly warmer than they are any other time of year this time of year. The only changed variable, and if you're truly devoted to science, not like the left claims to be, but if you actually are interested in the scientific method and applying it to try to figure out what's going on here, you have to look for the changed variable. And the only significant change variable is that they want to put hundreds of these wind turbines off the coast of New Jersey. And as a result, there's all these ships out there using sonar technology that we know, this isn't something we're guessing at or speculating at, we know has the real potential and ability to confuse marine mammals. So maybe, the propeller, the engine, whatever it is, from one of these giant commercial ships carrying your Amazon packages, maybe that's the actual cause of death. But the proximate reason why they're getting driven into these ships could be because this technology is confusing them. It's disorienting them. It's like you walking into a room that's already dark and all of a sudden you're hit with a strobe light. Are you going to be able to find your way out? Maybe not. Are you going to walk into a wall? Sure. That's a very simplified but accurate way of describing what may be happening to these mammals. And, there's a significant angle to this that got reported by Fox News. We talked about it over on my website, SaveJersey.com, about a week ago. It was back on August 2nd, actually. Fox News reported first that the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management posted a grant solicitation back in the spring, May specifically. What were they looking for? What were they soliciting? They wanted research assistance to fill, this is their verbiage, not me, ladies and gentlemen, knowledge gaps pertaining to these offshore wind turbine activities. Here's the poll quote for you. In support of the rapid development of offshore wind on the Atlantic coast, the Environmental Studies Program has identified a priority need to address knowledge gaps in the acoustic behavior of critically endangered North Atlantic right whales. This information is vital to the effectiveness of passive acoustic monitoring required for mitigation. So let's dumb that down for a second. Hey, it's May 2023. We're already green-lighting all of these massive wind farms up and down the East Coast, but maybe we don't know enough information about the impact it's going to have on all of the whales and dolphins floating around out there. So, hey, if anybody's interested in studying this, we're going to give you a grant. Think about the timeline here. They put this out there in May. You all know how long a study can take to come about, right? There's an application process before they award the grant. That can take months. Then they have to go out there and collect the data. Then they have to prepare the report. Studies can take, if not months, years to reach a conclusion. Just this summer, only a couple months after this solicitation was put out there by the federal government, the Biden administration signed off on Ocean Wind 1. This 100-turbine project that's going to be off the coast of Cape May County. If you're vacationing in Ocean City, Stone Harbor, Avalon, if you're down with Dom Giordano celebrating Dom Giordano Day in Wildwood, you're going to see these darn things on a clear day or even a slightly cloudy day. And it was greenlit while they were simultaneously saying, hey, we need more information. So the next time you are gaslit by a Democrat, whether it be Biden, Murphy, whoever, that, oh, you're fear-mongering, you're just trying to stand in the way of progress, you don't want these turbines built because you're in bed with big natural gas or oil or whatever, they're the ones that have admitted they don't have all the facts they need to do this safely. Not you, not me. We've speculated at that, but they have now admitted it. They're the only ones that can admit it because they're the ones doing it. Shove it right in their face, folks, because this is an issue, and we're going to talk to Chris Del Barello, state Senate candidate in New Jersey's 4th Legislative District. We're going to talk about this with him a little bit later on tonight's program. He joins us in the next hour because this is a big topic of conversation in New Jersey. I think it's going to have an impact in our legislative elections. The only issue, which is probably hotter right now, is parental rights, which we're also going to talk about more this evening. And it's not just because people like whales and dolphins. We all like whales and dolphins. Dan's a big fan of whales and dolphins. He loves me speaking whale. It's his favorite hotkey, even if he'll never admit it. It was flawless whale, by the way.
It's actually not my favorite.
What's your favorite?
I actually am aroused by him.
That's a different kind of whale.
It's Chris Christie.
That's a different species.
It's Chris Christie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the...
Sloppy Chris Christie.
And we've got a Christie update tonight because Trump decided to hop, skip, and jump past sloppy Chris Christie and take the insults to the next level. Great fun. Great radio. But the reason why windmills are such a great issue for Republicans this year, not just because we love whales and dolphins, it's because it's one of those issues that so clearly illustrates the problem with the left. Almost every position they espouse, they have a religious attachment to. And by that, I mean, we all know that religions are not rooted, at least exclusively in fact, right? They all involve articles of faith, things that you have to decide to believe even though you can't see them. That's fine for religion. That's problematic in the realm of public policy. Case in point, they have decided, even though the evidence is shoddy at best, that humans are killing the world. They're murdering Mother Gaia with greenhouse gases. And then unless we stop it, our only hope is to go to Mars with Elon, I guess. So we have to take these radical steps, often to embrace technologies like wind that are far from reliable, And all the evidence is they actually, in many cases, draw more energy than they actually can produce for us. But we have to embrace them and suspend fact, suspend logic, because it's the moral thing to do. It complies with their religious code. And in wind, or with wind, I should say, it's just so clear. It's just so clear that they don't have the facts on their side. These things don't work. They're expensive to maintain. When they break down, it's a nightmare. Next time we get a Hurricane Sandy, one of these things is going to be launched onto a beach near you. That's going to be great for property value and for your next family vacation. They kill whales and dolphins, in case you missed me say that 30,000 times over the course of the past year. They're actually going to increase New Jersey electric bills. There's no possible defense for these things, except that it comports with the left's religion. Not their well-thought-out ideas, their religious attachment to their ideology that they are constantly trying to force down your throat. So Republicans need to lean into it, not just because it's the right thing to do, not only because the facts are on our side, but goodness gracious, it's a way to expose the left in a way that anyone can understand. And God knows we need to do it. Nothing is more important. In our next hour, because I promise we've got a big show tonight, NJGOP Chairman Bob Huget will join us to talk about whales, parental rights, and a little bit more, including the guest that's going to come up right after him around 8:30 p.m., Chris Del Borello, who will join us in studio here at 1210 WPHT. Dan and I had a conversation. I'm actually surprised on a Sunday night, because everybody has obligations, how many of our guests actually want to come into the studio, but many do. And I don't know why we don't offer it up more often, Dan. It's not that we're not friendly and hospitable.
I've told you multiple times we should get people in studio.
Yeah, you like the idea.
I do.
So we decided to have Chris on, and we talked to Chris's people, and we talked to Chris, and we said, hey, listen, wouldn't it be great to have you in the studio? And they were all about it. So they're going to come rolling in here very shortly, and we'll talk to him about his race. A race which, again, even if you're in Pennsylvania, the ads are going to be all over the place in just a couple short months. I know how that drives everyone crazy, but it's because that particular contest is so important. And, of course, I'll do what I always do, which is give you the context and the background you need to understand why. And then, again, just a reminder, in the final hour of tonight's program, the 9 o'clock hour, we're joined by Mark, not Mike, Mark Hawk, pro-life activist who is now going to be primarying Brian Fitzpatrick. You're not going to want to miss that one.
Oh, you mean Houck?
What did I say?
Hawk. It's Mark Houck.
I said Houck.
No, you didn't. You said Hawk.
I said Houck.
You did not.
All right. Well, we'll go to the tape over the break.
It's Mark Houck.
You said Mike originally.
Yes, because I thought it was a completely different person, but then you said he's running against Brian Fitzpatrick, and I was like, oh, it's Mark Houck.
I said that the first time, too.
You did not. You said Hawk.
We need to break up.
Navy Prepper in the chat. Hawk. Got him.
Let me see.
It's Houck. H-O-U-C-K.
This is the first I've seen Navy Prepper comment all night. How do I know he was even here when I said it?
He was here. I mean, why else would he comment?
No, people like busting my chops. That's part of what we do here on the show. And we will also have, do we have Twit Talk tonight? Is it lined up?
Yeah.
You've had 2 weeks to work on it.
Yeah. It's there.
It's there?
It's here.
Is it good?
It's happening.
Well, that's a different thing, whether it's good or whether it's just happening.
It's happening.
Okay, it's happening. That's not much of a teaser, but, you know, I do what I can, folks. A carpenter's only as good as his tools. Again, 855-839-1210 is the number over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT if you want to join the stream. I am Matt Rooney. This is the Matt Rooney Show. Let's take a break and then kick off our numero dos in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere.
Philadelphia, the ideals of our nation were shaped right here.
And we work together to uphold them.
I'm Fred Shropshire.
And I'm Jacqueline London. This summer, let's celebrate our wins.
Walk-on number 4!
Embrace our different perspectives.
Help our neighbors.
No idea how helpful this was.
Honor our heroes. And share the laughter.
At NBC 10, we'll always be here to tell your stories.
Count on it.
This is Jonathan Cans, third-generation owner of Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning. Are you waking up soaking wet? Don't worry, you didn't wet the bed. It's sweat, which means your air conditioning probably needs service or needs to be replaced. Summer is still here for a few more months. If you want a company who's been servicing some of the same customers for 3 generations, with honest pricing, no gimmicks, and factory-trained technicians, then Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning is for you. Visit us at marvinecans.com. That's marvinekanze.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Do you feel like you're always looking for another energy boost? Then try Rescue Orosine from Rescue Natural Supplements. As we age, our bodies don't tend to produce enough natural fuel to get rid of that stubborn feeling of fatigue. Well, Rescue Orosine provides just that. Orosine helps by boosting energy production at the cellular level, while also supporting a healthy heart and blood pressure. Right now, our exclusive radio listeners can buy 1 bottle of Orosine, get another one free. Just use the code FUEL when placing your order. Call today, 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use the code online when you visit res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Make sure you mention the code FUEL, F-U-E-L, when you call, or use the code at the online checkout. Again, use the code FUEL when buying a single bottle of Orosine to receive a second bottle free.
Oh, the book lover's heart. It's too healthy for words.
And the nature lover's heart, it flies high with the birds.
See the art lover's heart, throbbing vibrant with color.
And the food lover's heart, it's as sweet as a cruller.
Hear the music lover's heart, how it's always in tune.
And the night lover's heart shines as bright as the moon.
But the heart of someone with pulmonary hypertension, PH for short, labors. PH puts unbearable stress on the heart, which can cause death from heart failure. And it's often misdiagnosed as asthma. But with early, accurate diagnosis, new treatments are helping people with PH live longer and better. The Pulmonary Hypertension Association gives hope to PH patients and caregivers. We want people to have
a heart that is strong for a life rich and long.
We're putting our heart into finding a cure. Learn more at phassociation.org. That's phassociation.org.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I want to be a glass countertop in a new home.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's best birthday present.
When I grow up, I want to be a football stadium.
When I grow up, I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
When I grow up, I want to be a fancy backsplash.
I want to be a bike that races around the country.
When I grow up,
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
I want to be a rocking chair on a sunny porch.
I want to be a skyscraper.
I want to be a When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. A public service advertisement brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
I believe in you. Just 4 simple words, but to a child in need, they mean the world. I believe in you means you have potential. You are special. You matter. When you become a child sponsor with Save the Children, you're saying, I believe in you. You are smart. You're capable. You will overcome obstacles that most can't imagine. Your sponsorship says to a child, I believe that you deserve a successful start to life and a solid foundation to build upon. I believe you're worthy of good nutrition, quality healthcare, and the opportunity that education unlocks. Becoming a Save the Children sponsor sends a powerful message of support. It says, I am here for you, to lift you up, to cheer you on, and to celebrate your success. Because when you believe in a child, you empower them to believe in themselves. I believe in you. Just 4 simple words that can bring hope, that can change a life. Visit sponsor.savethechildren.org today and tell a child in need, I believe in you.
If you talk and they will hear you every single time.
Oh, we're getting killed.
Yeah, well, Kyle's not here.
How come?
Kicked off the team. Didn't Tim tell you? Kyle and some other kids got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Come on, it's a first offense, right?
That we know of. But why should that matter? He knew not to drink. I've made it clear to Matt that's what we expect from him. What have you said to Tim?
Nothing really. You know, a lot of kids try it at this age, so.
Yeah, well, a lot of kids don't try it too. I'm not saying that Matt's gonna be this perfect kid, but if I don't tell him what we expect and why he shouldn't drink, how's he gonna know?
You think kids that age really listen?
They never admit it, Bill, but they hear more than you think.
Talk. They hear you. For more information about talking with kids about underage drinking, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney. On Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Oh, I wish that Phil Murphy felt like my left leg. I did something on the beach a couple weeks ago. I was just, you can't see. Well, I guess you can see if you're watching on YouTube. Ladies and gents, tonight's edition of the Matt Rooney Show. I was standing a moment ago, and Dan, that frustrates him because he lines up the camera so that you can see my face. Because why would you want to miss out on that if you have an opportunity? And I said, no, I'm going to sit. I'm just trying to stretch it out because it's very tight. I think it's got to be something meniscus-related, Daniel. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on the radio, but...
Also, just to piss Navy Prepper off.
You're talking about over on the YouTube page.
On the YouTube chat, yeah.
YouTube.com/@1210WPHT.
Yeah, he said, Dan, why aren't you hawking likes and subs? Well, just because you said something, if you have not already, please subscribe to the channel. Almost at 4.23. So let's get there. And if you have not liked it yet, make sure to like it as well. If you like our content, then yeah. So I hope that I made you feel better, Navy Prepper. If I didn't, sorry. So there you go.
That is part of your assigned duty here.
Yeah.
On the Matt Rooney Show, making sure people sign up, making sure they subscribe.
Yeah.
Until inevitably YouTube takes down the station page. With some of the stuff that comes out of our mouths, I'm surprised it's lasted this long.
We've been tame. It's been fine.
I don't know about tame.
Maybe not this show, but we've been tame.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
Good evening, Lucy Lou. Some people are signing on to the YouTube chat. What a fun little community we have here on the Matt Rooney Show every Sunday night. As I always say, old friends, new frenemies, and all who lie elsewhere in between on the spectrum that is life. And we have quite a big hour ahead here, our second of three tonight on the radio waves. We have Chris Del Borello in studio. He's actually milling about out in the hallway right now. He arrived a short time ago. State Senate candidate in New Jersey's 4th Legislative District, which takes in a bunch of South Jersey towns, including Washington Township. Biggest race in New Jersey this year, #1 target. He's going to join us to talk about that and some of the hot issues in that race, including the fight to keep windmills off the coast of New Jersey and also to reassert parental rights. The Murphy administration is good. I wish Phil Murphy spent a fraction of the energy that his attorney general exerts pushing woke priorities, maybe going after real criminals. God knows we have enough of them in New Jersey, particularly in some of our urban centers, right? There's gangsters. There's other fraudsters about. And ironically, we hear so often from the left how much they care, not just about people, but those that are most economically disadvantaged or those who have been historically left behind by society, many of whom are non-white. Well, guess who gets preyed upon most often by these criminals that the Attorney General's office and the Murphy administration often neglects?
People like me.
No.
Oh.
No, we talked about this, Dan, last hour. You are only 12.5% Hispanic.
I still think that's wrong, but whatever. Do you think?
No, it's math, bud.
Do you think?
Look, I'm going to do this for you right now. Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. You paying attention?
Yeah.
100. You told me you're 1/8.
I don't know what it is.
100 divided by 8 equals 12.5%. You follow that?
What would it be? 8? Wouldn't it be 0.8? I'm not a math guy. So
no,
I'm literally...
1/8.
It might even be 1/16. I don't know.
I'm telling you, Dan is going to go vote in November. Well, are you going to vote this November? You probably won't. You probably won't.
Why wouldn't I?
I don't know. You just don't
What does
strike
math-
me.
what
you
does
don't
math have
strike
to do
me
with
as a guy
voting?
that doesn't vote in federal cycles.
What does math have to do with?
Because I'm concerned about the choices you're going to make. Because you don't
Am
know
I?
what
Are
is.
you?
Yes, I am.
Are you?
I am deeply concerned. You deeply concern me.
That's fine. Stay concerned.
All right.
Why wouldn't I? I vote in the federal.
Well, no, I'm saying you probably stick to federal cycles. I could see you being
No, I
that
vote
guy.
in the state as well.
All right. Okay. Look, I believe you.
State of Pennsylvania.
The great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Terrible state.
Chris Del Borello coming up in a little bit. We'll also be joined by NJGOP Chairman Bob Eugen. Okay. And then in our final hour, who we have coming up, Dan? Mike Hawk, right?
Mark Houck.
Mark Houck will join us. Pro-life activist, fought off Joe Biden's Justice Department, now running for Congress in southeastern Pennsylvania. One of the big races to keep an eye on as the 2024 cycle inches closer. And speaking of the 2024 cycle, did you see the crowds out at the Iowa State Fair this weekend? Donald Trump got a rock star welcome from attendees at this event, which is always a must attend for anyone that wants to be president of the United States who is competing in a primary. The Iowa caucus, of course, at least on the GOP side of the ledger, the first significant contest on the road to the nomination. And, it's one of the limitations of our medium because this is a radio show. I wish you could see it because the audio wouldn't do it justice. There was probably a couple thousand people that greeted him in the same way that a bunch of Swifties would greet Taylor Swift if they saw her getting into her limousine after a concert. Just absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, but here, does Trump give his staff $50 million bonuses? Or whatever it was?
Must be nice.
Yeah, I mean, it must be nice to work for T-Swizzle.
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 That's a new one. Did you just make that up? I
I've heard
hope you did. I hope that's not a real thing.
No, I've heard it somewhere. I didn't just make it up off the top of my head. Like Snoop Doggy Dog.
Snoop Doggy Dog.
T-Dizzle.
Well, speaking of Snoop Doggy Dog and T-Swizzle, that's a nice segue to your boy. I think the front runner for
Vivek.
Vivek.
Rhymes with Kate.
Ramaswamy.
Yeah.
He's the front runner for the producer Dan primary. That's who Dan likes at the moment.
Yeah.
He was rapping.
He was.
Over the weekend
He brought out his Davek again.
Do we have audio
of his rap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's listen up.
Everybody's joking now. The clock's run out. Time's up. Over. Plow. Snap back to reality.
This is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my entire
There goes gravity. Choke. He's so mad, but he won't give up that easy. Yo, he won't rap, but he knows his own back.
It is the greatest thing ever.
Iowa State Fair. More like Iowa State Circus. Trump getting a rock star welcome. Ramaswamy who's surging in the polls, rapping. What a time to be alive,
Look,
ladies and gentlemen.
Vivek is a sleeper candidate. That's all I'm saying. People are sleeping on Vivek.
Well, and look, it illustrates the problem for Ron DeSantis, right?
You don't see Ron DeSantis out there rapping.
That's the thing. And look, I've been getting some heat, if you will. To use a term that Dan taught me, people have been beefing with me on Twitter a bit.
Good job. You use it correctly.
Thank you. Thank you, pal. Because they think that I'm trashing or I'm running down Ron DeSantis. I am a Ron DeSantis fan. I am. And I know that'll annoy some Trumpies on the other side of the ledger. I'm not here to validate your feelings, folks. That's not one of my assigned jobs or volunteered for jobs here on this program. So you're just gonna have to deal. All right. I have criticized the DeSantis campaign because I think it's a pathetic campaign, and that's been validated by the fact that the campaign manager has been demoted. Right? If it was a great campaign and there was nothing to criticize, then we wouldn't even be sitting here in August. Right? This isn't after some big loss out there during the actual primary calendar. This woman's already lost her job. That's massive red flag concerning the health of that effort.
Because his campaign isn't good.
It's not good. But look, I mean, he's a compelling elected official when you look at his record in Florida.
Right, but here's the thing. Ron, people of Florida are pretty much saying that they're just using he's just using them now. I mean, you got to think, Ron, he got elected for governor for a second term, and then immediately was like, "Hey, I'm running for I'm running for governor."
Well, that's
you got to think. Does he really care about Florida now?
Well, that's always the challenge when a governor in their second term tries to run for president. Fatty McThunderbiscuits himself, Chris Christie, dealt with that in New Jersey back in 2016, when it became very apparent as far back as 2012, 2013, that that's where he was aiming.
Sloppy Chris Christie.
Okay, I paused because I thought you were leaning in for a hotkey.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it took longer than I thought.
DeSanctis. Ramaswamy.
Ramaswamy's my favorite.
Ron has always been a loser.
Ron has always been a loser. Little hands.
Sorry, my personal favorite.
Mustard.
There you go.
Mustard.
Ramaswamy.
So unfortunate.
Sloppy Chris Christie.
Ramaswamy mustard. Somebody should have gone to the Iowa State Fair and sold Ramaswamy mustard, and they would have made a fortune. I don't know what it would taste like. It would have flown off the shelves.
Yeah.
This may actually be an appropriate time. I was going to wait a little bit longer, but should we do our Chris Christie update?
Sure.
Yeah, why not? Right, since we're talking about 24. Let's check in with Fatty McThunderbiscuits.
Sloppy Chris Christie.
Go ahead, check in.
What do you mean?
Oh,
we have music. You're off 1 week. We went through this whole elaborate process of picking the right music.
Yeah, I didn't. I was like, "What are you waiting for?" And I was like, "Oh, wait, no."
Shame.
I get it. I get it.
You can just kind of picture him walking around the Iowa State Fair with a funnel cake.
Do you think he's a plain funnel cake guy, or do you think he's like a flavored, like cookies and cream, strawberry funnel cake guy?
I think he's a buy one funnel cake
and get the second one,
and then get a second one, and then make it a sandwich.
Do you think he's a fried
guy?
Do you think he's a fried Oreo guy too?
Look, that's his actual blood type.
We're gonna get to this update or what?
Yeah, I'm an O. He's fried Oreo. So Chris Christie, his entire universe is spinning around the first presidential debate on the Republican side, which is coming up at the end of the month. You're all aware. Everybody's waiting for it. It's going to be interesting, even though it looks like the Donald himself may not be participating. Some major heat between Chris Christie and Donald Trump, the former friends. Now, I don't even think you can call it frenemies. They're just straight-up enemies. Continue to exchange barbs over Twitter and in their in-person appearances. Donald Trump was actually up in New Hampshire this past week. He was in Windham, New Hampshire. And, well, let's put it this way. The Trumpster got some feedback from the crowd about Fatty McThunderbiscuits. And he, to quote Barack Obama's former chief of staff, Rahm Emanuel, he didn't let an opportunity go to waste. Listen to this. That's cut.
What? Yeah, you got to tell me.
Yeah,
they're labeled wrong.
Cut. What? No, cut 11's not labeled wrong, is it?
No. I label them a specific way.
Well, how do you label them?
I take a couple words from the sentence.
Oh, so that's my fault. Your labeling system.
You got to tee it up. You got to tell me. You know.
Cut number 11.
There we go.
Cut number 11.
He's good. No, Christie's he's eating right now. He can't be bothered. Sir, please do not call him a fat pig. That's very disrespectful. Don't call him. See, I'm trying to be nice. Don't call him a fat pig. You can't do it. You can't do that. So now, because you're not allowed to do that, and therefore we're not going to do it, okay? We want to be very civil, right? So, the latest.
And then, of course, Chris Christie on Twitter, on X. If you had the guts, you would show up to the debate and say it to my face. Come on. We all know what this is. Christie loves the fact that Trump is going at him because he's going at Trump. This is professional wrestling. This is how Chris Christie gets attention.
Does Christie actually think that he's going to get somewhere in this race? Like, he's acting all tough, and he's like, oh, come to the debate. But do you think he's actually going to – do you think he knows that he's not going to do well in the debate and this is all, like, theater?
For him, this is just the pursuit of maintaining an opportunity. And by that, I mean, in his mind, he has nothing to lose since he's already reviled by most Republicans by being involved in this contest. Worst case scenario, he gets some free press up through or up until the early primaries. He says a lot of nasty things about Trump. That preserves his ability to go on, like he used to be an ABC panelist before this got underway. He can go on those shows and continue to, promote himself.
Well, you have Gmail on the YouTube chat saying Trump ain't exactly thin, hypocrite. I'm not saying that he's the thinnest person in the world. I think Trump walks like a centaur and he stands like a centaur.
A centaur reference?
Yeah. You've never seen the way that he
playing
stands?
some Dungeons and Dragons before we got here tonight?
No, he just looks like a centaur. He stands like one.
I'm a centaur. I am the most handsome centaur
You never
anyone's
seen the way
ever
that he
seen.
stands? Like when he stands still, is like his upper body just like is a little bit forward than his legs.
legs of a
Trump
horse.
is not exactly the thinnest person ever.
Torso of a god.
I don't, but you don't hear anyone
But
talking
come
about
on.
his weight.
That's apples and anvils.
Yeah.
Gmail. I mean, let's be honest about this. I mean, look, I could lose 10, 15 pounds. All right? I mean, Chris Christie has small moons orbiting around him.
He does.
Yeah, he has gravitational pull, which rivals some smaller
He has a
planets.
gravitational pull to the nearest McDonald's.
Yes, it's not even in the same league. No. Not even in the same league. And, of course, Christie, right, because we're talking about his sparring with Donald Trump, most of his campaign has been centered around attacking Donald Trump. The other issue he's latched on, it's almost like he's trying to tick off the Republican base. He's argued that we are not spending enough money in Ukraine. Most people have been debating whether or not the investment itself makes sense, what we've spent so far. I think at the end of May, Dan, we were about $80 billion deep in Ukraine. Now it's probably over 100, I'm sure, and of course it depends on which age you're counting. Christie's saying, no, we should be spending more money. And he was on Morning Joe this week to lay into Donald Trump over the former president's alleged failings on this issue. That is cut numero 12.
Having gone over there now, Joe and Mika, and watched for myself what the folks in Ukraine are going through, what they've already gone through. The idea that this is something that America does not have a vital interest in, to me, is just absurd. Not only because we should be standing up against a barbaric Russian administration that is doing things like the gouging of eyes, the cutting off of ears of men in Ukraine before they tie their hands behind their back and shoot them in the back of the head, and then go into those homes where they've just taken these men out of and rape the women. Nearly 20,000 children have been kidnapped from Ukraine, brought to Russia to be separated from their families, programmed to be anti-Ukrainian and to work for the Russian Federation. I met with some of those parents, guys, and I could tell you as a dad, it's unimaginable to me that your child would be yanked away from you. You don't know whether they're dead or alive, whether they're being cared for or abused. These are the things that Vladimir Putin is imposing upon Ukraine. And this is the guy that Donald Trump says is brilliant and a great leader. Well, if that's brilliant leadership, you can keep it. It isn't that. It's barbarism.
Well, Christie's being cute here, of course. So, and this often gets misquoted on purpose by not providing the context. Trump was not speaking of Putin with admiration when he said that he was a brilliant, great leader. Trump was saying that, hey, this guy is an effective dictator. He's pretty good at doing his job, which is being a despot that rules over one of the largest and most powerful countries on the planet. Now, if you're Trump, should you have chosen different phraseology? I mean, isn't that ultimately often the Donald's problem, right? We love much of what he says. We wish he would say it better. But if you take the authenticity out of Donald Trump, then you no longer have Donald Trump. So you have a double-edged sword dilemma here. But, I mean, let's compare what Donald Trump said about Putin, just very briefly here, to what some other past presidents have said about Putin. Do you remember George W. Bush? George Bush?
George W.
George W.
George W.
Doing his watercolors down in Texas. George Bush, who was responsible for making Chris Christie U.S. attorney, okay, He's the one that looked into Putin's soul and saw a good man. Remember that? Isn't that a whole heck of a lot worse than saying, yeah, he might be a horrible person, but yeah, this Putin guy, he's done a pretty good job staying in power as long as he had. He's really smart. We should take him seriously. It's just such a joke. And that's why poll after poll, maybe I'll pull one up later tonight, shows that the only demographic in the Republican primary Chris Christie's succeeding with are Republicans that actually voted for Joe Biden last time, which is, about 5 people. So, Fatty McThunder Biscuits, if nothing else, always giving us plenty of great content. 855-839-1210. Super quick break. And then when we return, let's get a New Jersey campaign update since it's the big game in town this year from none other than the man himself, NJGOP Chairman Bob Hugin. Back in a second.
Before the opening bell on Monday, contact David Bazar, Karen Bazar, or Brett Elam of Thrive Financial Services, 215-798-9088. Get on the original Roadmap to Retirement and get yourself educated about the tax benefits of a Roth IRA. It's your Roadmap to Retirement, and it starts by getting educated from advocates who will help you navigate your own Roadmap to Retirement. Leave a message at 215-798-9088.
Your official home for Penn State football and basketball is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app. Listen to every Nittany Lions game on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, or back that won't go away? Check out QC Kinetics. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000.
Hi, my name is PJ Vogt. I host the podcast Search Engine, where every week I hunt down the answers to the questions I can't get out of my head. Like, why are drug dealers poisoning their customers with fentanyl? Or, is my local sushi restaurant a part of an international scam? Or, how sad are the monkeys at the zoo? If you, like me, find this world bewildering, but also sometimes enjoy being bewildered by it, check out the show. On the Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you live.
Don't let them silence you. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Matt Rooney on the Matt Rooney Show, cramming more content, entertainment, information, and other extraneous opportunities and excuses for fun at the 3 hours than the CDC says is safe, but caution be damned. Wear no masks, wear 15, and put 3 on your elbows. We believe in your free choice as an American to consume this program the way you choose. If you want to participate online, by the way, during this program, because it's an interactive show, head over to youtube.com/@1210 WPHT, where in just a short period of time, you'll be able to see tonight's in-studio guest, Senate candidate Chris Del Borello, who will join me in studio. I just tried to talk him into getting himself coffee before he comes on. He is in the building. But before we get to future possible Senator Del Borello, let's talk to the head of the New Jersey Republican Party. He is a captain of industry. He is a former U.S. Senate candidate. He fought the good fight and took on Bob Menendez. Menendez, of course, who, might maybe be indicted again soon. He's under criminal investigation. No word on that yet, but it's almost an annual tradition in New Jersey that Bob Menendez is under investigation for something. So Bob Hugin invested much of his own energy and treasure into trying to take Bob Menendez down. Always a tough fight in the Garden State. And now he's devoting his energy to try to build up the New Jersey Republican Party. And he's leaning into election 2023 when Republicans have a chance to take over the Senate and the Assembly and once and for all provide a check on Phil Murphy. No small task. How's it going? Let's find out. Bob Hugin, welcome back to Matt Rooney Show and 1210 WPHT. Good evening. How are you, sir?
I am doing great, and thanks for having me. Thanks for having Chris on the call, on the show. I don't think he needs any coffee. This guy's got plenty of energy. He's kicking butt out on the campaign trail, so I think he's going to do great, and your listeners and viewers will really see what a great candidate he has and what a great ticket they're part of. So we're very excited about the potential in LD4 and the victory coming in November.
Am I overstating it in any way by saying that it's a top target, if not the top target, for Republicans in 2023?
Oh, it's absolutely one of the top targets, if not the top target. And our big issue in the Republican Party is we just got to stop fighting ourselves and get people aligned behind our candidates and win. You know, it takes different kinds of candidates in different parts of the state and different districts, but some Republicans want to have purity tests and for one way or the other, and it's crazy because this is the first time in a long time we really have a chance to take a majority in the Senate, state Senate, and the Assembly. And we've got great candidates in 4, 11, 16, 36, 38, 15. We got 14. We've got a great group of candidates, and we've got a great shot. And you know, the thing to me, I hope all these candidates, and I beat them up every day to say education, education. It's the one issue that we poll on, that we do focus groups on. It's the only issue that gets people to vote who weren't going to vote, and for people who are going to vote, potentially to change their vote in the direction that they voted in their vote is education. It's the only issue that does that, and that's multifaceted. It's the choice issue of where can your kid go to school. There's 20-something thousand kids on a wait list for charter schools in Newark. Other cities, we need charter schools in the urban areas, the rural areas, and Murphy has had one charter school added in his entire time as governor because he's in the pocket of the NJEA and AFT. And it's ridiculous. The kids need it. So not just choice, but parental activism, not activism, involvement in the schools. It's
he
ridiculous.
Spent most of his time as governor shutting down schools for COVID or for whatever other reason, instead of opening them up and giving kids in this state a place where they can go and learn, which is what we as taxpayers pay those property taxes for. At least that's why I thought I was paying them.
It's a disgrace.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, I look, you have a lot of experience with politics, Chairman, so you tell me if you think my read is okay here. Phil Murphy, he's a radical. His attorney general is a radical. They've decided to sue 3 New Jersey school districts that, I mean, I think it's the most simple thing in the world. They said, hey, listen, we're going to tell parents if kids come to school and want to use a different bathroom than the one that corresponds to their gender, use a different name. We're going to tell those parents that's going on so they can be involved in that particular decision-making process in that child's life. Phil Murphy has decided that that is a worthy use of taxpayer dollars to sue those schools and potentially take away their state aid. To me, it's almost a political unforced error because I have seen so many even casually engaged Republicans, maybe independent leave Republicans, even some Democrats out there that haven't completely drank the Kool-Aid that are furious about this and concerned about this. Are you feeling that and hearing that as well?
Oh, yeah, but our problem or our challenge is to get Republicans who have that religion, one, to get out to vote, but more importantly, to talk to their friends, their neighbors, and say, this is no longer just a Republican-Democratic issue. This is right and wrong. This is wrong what we're doing with our kids. We're obfuscating. We're confusing ourselves and not focusing on the fact that these kids are so far falling behind because of the way we treated COVID. We're not holding them to a higher standard. They're not going to compete long term. Now we're talking about having gender choice as the way you get sex ed taught. You're not by biological gender. The whole thing is ridiculous. But not only education, but the environment. Look at Rhode Island, a more blue state than New Jersey. They say no on offshore wind because it's technologically not ready. Siemens has said that already. Look, the stock went down 36% in one day because they can't make turbines that will work long enough to be justified to put them out offshore. And Murphy has just bought into this progressive doctrine that he thinks Biden is not going to run, and he's going to be in Washington one way or the other, and he wants to make New Jersey what the people of it don't want, whether it's the Democrats, the reasonable few in the Senate and the Assembly. Some of them are reasonable, and they're embarrassed by what he's doing, but we don't get enough people to realize we're here fighting each other. The Republicans, we got to tell them, stop fighting each other. It's the freaking Democrats. It's Murphy we got to go after. Let's get it done. We can beat this guy and move the state in the right direction again.
Well, the proof is in the pudding in terms of Democrats in Trenton and how they're interpreting the Murphy administration's recent decisions. The Senate President, Nick Scutari, and the Assembly Speaker, Craig Coughlin, two Democrats, they've now come out, and it's been very tepid, but they've criticized the administration's approach to offshore wind and this pushback against parental rights that the Murphy administration is perpetrating in districts all across the state. So, I mean, if nothing else, you don't need to look at any polling. When Democrats are admitting they have a problem by distancing themselves from Phil Murphy, I mean, how could any Republican campaign not lean into those issues in 2023? It's a layup.
They have to. They have to. Education's our path to victory. Environment's helping us. Crime, on affordability, the state, all things that are helping us. But unfortunately, the Democrats have been so ingrained in the last 20 years in the Assembly and the Senate that people have lost hope on the affordability issue. But I think voters eventually are going to start coming back to reprioritizing pocketbook issues in that. But right now, education and environment are the top two where we've got to motivate people to get out and vote for the right people, like Chris and the rest of the ticket. We've got in LD4. We got Ed Durr, get him reelected, and the team in LD3. We've got great shots in all across North Jersey, Central Jersey, and South Jersey are all targets for us, and we've got a great coordinated effort with the Republican Senate Legislative Committee. So we've got groups outside the state, inside the state, all coming together to work on those target districts and produce a victory in November.
Bob Hugan, chairman of the New Jersey Republican Party, his handle on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it these days, easy enough to find. It's just Bob Hugan. And, of course, the NJGOP, again, stupid proof, NJGOP is the Twitter handle. You go over there and also to njgop.org to check out all the things that the party committee is doing this year to help Republican candidates, including, I'd imagine, a lot of work on the vote-by-mail front and trying to get Republicans to vote early. Chairman Hugan, always a pleasure to have you, and we're going to impose upon you in the future, before the election, I am sure, to come back on here and give us an update.
I appreciate it. Good luck with everything else, Matt. Take care. Talk to you soon.
Chairman Bob Hugan, everyone, and he was talking about Chris Del Borello. That is the man that is running an LD4 for the Republicans, carrying the banner in the Senate race. It is, and the chairman just told you, got it right from the horse's mouth. It's a top target this year. It is probably the number one target in New Jersey, and that's for the very simple reason that not only did this swing district get a little bit redder when they drew the new districts, but also we all know how South Jersey has been changing. South Jersey, which was always kind of a light shade of blue, maybe purple, depending upon where we're talking about, as the Democrat Party has moved further and further away from Main Street issues and focused on these niche far-left issues, which only appeal to a small sector of the population, South Jersey, which is populated by working-class, middle-class, hardworking Americans, has said, I don't recognize what the Democrats are anymore. We're going to go and we're going to have an amicable break here and go our own direction. And it showed in the election results going all the way back to 2019. This year, LD4, where there's a Democrat retirement, the state senator Fred Madden's not seeking re-election. Republicans believe, everyone I talk to says this, they can flip this seat. And if they flip that seat, there is a path for Republicans to take over the state Senate. And then at that point, Phil Murphy's agenda should be effectively dead. To quote Chris Matthews, maybe that gives you a thrill going up your leg. If you're a New Jersey taxpayer, it should. So without further ado, and no pressure, by the way, with that buildup, we have the Senate candidate in LD4 this year for the Republican Party. He is a former councilman in Washington Township, New Jersey. He comes from a family that I've known for a number of years with a strong small business tradition. He also went to high school with me, 1 or 2 years ahead of me.
I think it was 2.
I
was 02.
So he's 1 year older than me, but he looks about 10 years younger. Which we're getting to the age right now where that's a good thing, right?
But you got the height on me.
Well, yeah, but see, that's just more places to hide the fat, though.
Okay.
That's why I got to wear these floral shirts that Dan makes fun of every week.
Oh, they're heinous.
This one's not that bad.
They're
this
heinous.
one's not that bad.
It's
though.
flamingo. They're heinous.
What is the matter with the flamingo?
Chris, be honest with him here.
It wouldn't be something I would wear.
See,
he's a candidate, so he said it nicely. You could at least put a little sugar on it.
No, he's saying they're heinous.
See, he just proved his political skill. Chris Del Borello, welcome to the Matt Rooney Show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here in studio. I already built up your race. I don't think there's anything I've said about it that you would disagree with. It's a hugely consequential contest, not just for the people of LD4, these South Jerseyans who need a change in representation, but for the state at large. So maybe you're feeling a little bit of pressure. I don't know. You seem pretty
Just a little
calm,
bit.
cool,
Nah,
and collected. What made you decide to get into the race this year? Because I mentioned a minute ago you used to be a councilman of Washington Township. You also have about, what, like 50 kids now?
Yeah, just about.
Just
Yeah,
about.
no, Four.
Four.
We'll
It feels, see, to me, with having two, four feels like 50.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of other things going on. You're in that category of a public servant that, and I want to say this the right way, you don't need this. You've got plenty of other things you could focus on, priorities.
Yes.
But you're throwing your hat back in the ring after having previously left township council. Why run for Senate in 2023?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just goes back to why I originally got into politics back in '08. Originally ran for what was called the Freeholders at the time, but it's now called County Commissioner. Very close. Came within a hair of winning that race. Came back the next year and ran for town council in Washington Township and won that race in a landslide. And so I had seen some of the things growing up were going on under the regime that kind of controls all of South Jersey. And I wanted to not just sit and complain about it on the couch. I wanted to get involved and actually try and do something about it. And I did one 4-year term on council. Very proud of my record on council. We were able to flatline the tax levy. We were able to, have some significant savings in healthcare reform. We were able to renegotiate trash contracts, save millions of dollars in that. So we were very successful. Unfortunately, I could not run for re-election because I would say fortunately I couldn't run for the re-election because I started having babies. And so me and my wife, we decided to
Your
take
most
some time.
needy constituents.
Yeah, those are numero uno, right? And and my beautiful wife was like, "Hey, why don't you, help me raise these kids?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I did not run for re-election. I never wanted to be a career politician, though. So it was not that hard to step away, although I felt I was helping the residents. But I stepped away to raise my kids, and in doing that, we actually moved out of Washington Township and into the next largest town in the district, Gloucester Township, and so which is in Camden County, and raised my kids, and I just felt like that I had to get off the sidelines again because of the direction that not only South Jersey's going, but the state, and so that's why I jumped in.
And I know you and I come from relatively similar backgrounds. I have 2 kids. You have 4 kids, 6 between us.
Yeah.
It's a stake in the future, right? And even though we know there are plenty of other things going on out there in the public policy realm, not the least of which is how expensive New Jersey is, but this attack on our kids that Phil Murphy is spearheading, I can't tell you, and you, I'm sure, have had the same experience times 10, parents that weren't previously interested in off-year elections who are now paying attention because right, left, center, whatever, they don't like the idea that some guy that lives in a mansion up there on the Navasink is calling the shots on not just what their child is learning, but whether or not if their child wants to change their gender, they're even allowed to know about it.
Right. And I hear that knocking on the doors. I hear that from parents all over the district. And it's not about, like you said, it's not about the labels of Republican or Democrat. I mean, this is uniform across. I'm knocking on Democrats, Independents, Republican doors, and this is uniform across the aisle. And it's part of that mentality that's coming out of Trenton, and with my opponent Paul Moriarty, that we know what's best for your children, and we don't care if you don't like this policy. We're going to shove it down your throat. And so that's got to change, and that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what we have to fight for.
And you and your running mates, and let's give them a shout out here.
Absolutely.
Your 2 assembly running mates, very impressive people, Matt Walker and Amanda Esposito. So they're running to take the 2 assembly seats. Paul Moriarty, who's currently an assemblyman, stepping up to challenge you for this state Senate position, trying to hold that seat for Democrats. I think he's going to have some trouble. More on that a little bit later. This week, you and your running mates unveiled a contract with South Jersey parents.
Right.
Now, this time of year, because I run SaveJersey.com, my state's political website, I'm getting press releases from so many different campaigns, and I throw this stuff up, and so much of it sounds the same. I have gotten so much feedback on this post, which is basically just click and pasting your contract with South Jersey parents, because I think it's hitting with the demographic that Republicans need to reach. Again, just parents, maybe they don't agree with their regular GOP candidates running in their district on every single issue. That's okay. They don't like the idea they're not in their driver's seat when it comes to their children's future. This is 5 points that you and your running mates are promising to abide by in the event that you're successful in November. Can you give us just basically a rundown of what these are and how it came about?
Yeah, I mean, so for instance, when I go knocking on doors, they say, "We agree with you, Chris, but what are you going to do about it?" Right? And that's the biggest question you get asked by voters. And so we sat down and we thought about it, and the it all surrounds around empowering parents, right? And again, getting back to what we were talking about, the parents that live with their children day in and day out, they know what's best for their children. And so this empowers parents. And what we said in this plan is that you're going to know when your child, for instance, gets in trouble with the law. And under current, Trenton law, they're under 21. Minors are allowed to walk away from police officers if they try and stop and question them about, underage drinking or marijuana use. So
Smoking up on the
Right,
beach, there's
right.
very little the police can do to say, hey, get out of here. Or if one of them's high or something, get in the car. We're going to call your parents.
Right,
Phil
right.
Murphy, Matt Placken, they're trying to criminalize that.
Yes. And it goes as far as if the police officer on duty pursues that they can actually be held responsible and charged with something.
Criminal culpability.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is going too far. And as a parent, I know that if my child's doing something wrong, I want to know about it. I don't want to be left in the dark. And so that's one of the bullet plans. Another bullet point is that we want to have parents with their doctors and their children make decisions, their medical decisions. And so it gives parents more rights, especially with regards to the COVID-19 vaccine and not mandating that vaccine for children to go back to school. It's another point is stopping the attorney general's, don't tell the parents directives that are coming out of Trenton. There's another point about parents being able to get a summary and a review of the curriculum that is being taught to their children. And if they have an objectionable say in it, and they can opt their kids out. So this is a plan that we feel that parents can get on board with, that they want, that is needed, because what's coming out of Trenton right now is just do as I say, not as I do.
And the reaction from your opponent, your Democrat opponent, Paul Moriarty, just awesome, but not in a good way. It's comical how afraid this guy clearly is. I'm going to give you a little bit of a quote, and this is from my friend David Wildstein's New Jersey Globe. He, and I think he's referring to you here, Chris, he is out of touch with the needs of South Jersey residents, in over his head on economic issues impacting our region, and does not have a plan to tackle real problems facing our state. This contract is a preview of the Mississippi and Kentucky-style MAGA Republican politics they'll bring to New Jersey if elected. So let's analyze that for a second, even though it's going to hurt your head to do so.
Yeah, there's a lot in there.
So first of all, I mean, I never like when somebody disparages any states in the union, right? But because there's
Fellow
plenty
Americans, yeah, because why would we?
why would you do that, right? I mean, except maybe New York during football season. Aside from that, we're all Americans here.
Yeah.
But you're suggesting there's something alien or distasteful to New Jersey residents about, again, like having knowledge about what their children are learning in school, particularly if it's sexual or it involves their gender orientation. I mean, does he really think this is going to fly in Gloucester Township or Washington Township?
Yeah, I mean, here's my biggest problem with what he reacted to and what he said in that response is.
And it was emotive.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was a very emotive response. You can tell that you got under his skin with this.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I think. I mean, he's calling me a Kentucky Republican, but what he doesn't realize is that he just called all the parents of the 4th Legislative District, MAGA people, and that couldn't be further from the truth. They're independents, they're Democrats, they're Republicans. They are all saying the same thing. We want to know about child development of our children. And so if that's extreme, then Assemblyman Moriarty is way off base, and he's way out of his league, and he's way out of touch with South Jersey parents.
It's amazing to see them cast this as a MAGA issue. I have. This is what we used to call back when I was doing some campaign consulting on the side for a hot minute, a 60+% issue, right? To your point, Chris, even if you look at a pool of Democrats and independents, you're going to find widespread support for the idea that parents should have the primary role in deciding how their children are taught, and most importantly, what's going on with their children's mental health. But we know what's going on here. This isn't just about Paul Moriarty. This is about a machine, the South Jersey Democrat machine led by George Norcross III, which is on the ropes. They're not down and out yet by any means, but they're on the ropes. They've been losing territory now for multiple cycles going
First
back
district,
to 2019.
Second district, third district.
Van Drew left the Democrat Party, Congressman Van Drew, our friend, and joined the Republicans. So if you're successful this year in LD4, and if your fellow candidates in the column win in Gloucester County, the Republicans can take over the board of, I was going to say freeholders, but they're not freeholders.
County commissioner.
It's going to take me another 20 years to get that down. The county commissioner board, I mean, they're confined to Camden.
Right.
And it's a major sea change in New Jersey politics outside of our region. So this is a machine fighting for its existence, its hold on power. One of the very interesting aspects of your candidacy, and I'm going to nerd out here for a second, but I promise you it's very important. You live now in Gloucester Township.
Gloucester Township, Camden County.
Right. That's confusing, and I said that deliberately because for those of you that are outside, we also have a Gloucester City that's in Camden County, right? So Gloucester City, Camden County, Gloucester Township, also in Camden County. There is an unwritten but time-honored tradition in the New Jersey Senate, senatorial courtesy, where if you are the senator representing a county, so you're going to be representing a piece of Camden County, then you're able to essentially kill any Murphy nominee that comes up before the Senate, including state school board nominees. Right. And we all know what the state school board just did. They moved to scrub gendered pronouns from the state code. They're also pursuing some other wacky things concerning allowing biological males to participate in girls' sports, which is going to kill girls' sports. I have a daughter. I take that very personally. I know many of you do. If you are elected, not only are you going to have a vote in Trenton, Chris, you're also going to be a check on the Norcross machine and Phil Murphy, the likes of which we haven't had in a long time.
Right, right. And so having a Republican state senator in Camden County is a game changer.
Huge.
For South Jersey. Game changer. It like you said, it's a check on the balance. It's signifies the end of an era, quite frankly, where one party, dominates all of South Jersey. One man dominates all of South Jersey. And it's just too much power for one person for too long. And so having a Republican senator in Camden County is a game changer. It shifts the balance of power. And quite frankly, it's something that's needed. As the last South Jersey county without a Republican senator, this is big. And so, yes, I have pledged that to the District 4 voters that should I be successful and they vote for me in November, that I would block the appointment of Elaine Bosgrove, who didn't 5 of her board mates. And I've been there. I've been on council where members of the other party needed more time, and I voted to give more time so they can, get their heads around the issue. And when her own board, 5 of her own board, said, hey, let's postpone this, let's give more time, let's read these 900 comments that came in about this, she voted no.
900 comments.
900 comments. And she said, no, we're going through and we're going to steamroll and push this and shove it down everybody's throat. And so,
and none of those comments came from Mississippi or Kentucky.
No,
these are New Jerseyans that are going to be impacted by these changes.
Absolutely. And so, yes, having a Republican state senator in Camden is a game changer, as I said.
Now, I know another big issue in your campaign this year that you and your running mates have weighed into. Even though you can't see the Atlantic Ocean from your district, you're a very quick drive from it. You represent a piece of Atlantic County.
Yep, 2 towns, Buena and Buena Vista.
And there isn't a part of your district that doesn't spend a substantial amount of time this time of year down at the Jersey Shore. We love our Jersey Shore. It's important for not just who we are as a people in South Jersey, but also our state tourism industry, which is huge. They want to put these giant wind turbines off our coast. We talked a lot on the program tonight about how insane that is. Another dead whale washed up over the weekend. I take it goes without saying that were you to be successful and get elected to the Senate, slowing down and stopping this project, as well as Murphy's larger green energy initiative, his green energy master plan, is going to be a priority for you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it goes in, it's part and parcel of the whole lack of transparency issue with this administration. This is probably one of the most egregious administrations with a lack of transparency. And how do you know that? Is because all these initiatives are passing by one vote, right? So the state school board with Elaine Bosgrove, like I said, was the deciding vote, 6-5. Those wind turbines, the bailout, the $200 million bailout for the foreign company Ørsted, was passed by one vote, one Senate vote. And they had to get her back from vacation, and God knows what they promised the senator to switch her vote, because she didn't want to vote for it. But
Maybe they'll hang one of her campaign signs on there or something like that.
She caved, and it passed by one vote. And so, having a senator in the 4th District could have stopped all of that. And
not only did Paul Moriarty not stop it, wasn't he a sponsor?
He was a sponsor
of that bill.
He's trying to frame it as a job creations bill, which Paul Moriarty has no idea how to create a job. I mean, he wouldn't know a good job that came up and hit him in the face. So this is really comical. Trying to say a $200 million bailout for a foreign company is a job creator. It's just, and then not to mention
Shameful.
that. Yeah, I know. And look, I consider myself environmentalist. I got solar panels. I got an electric vehicle. But we need to do this the right way. And we need to do an all-above strategy, not just either or. And it's just...
Well, how about everything that works, right?
Right.
So maybe there will come a time when some of these renewable sources of energy can stand on their own without the government needing to subsidize them. If the government needs to subsidize it, then there's a good chance that it's something we shouldn't be putting all of our eggs in that particular basket. Just common sense, right?
Right. And it's by the time this is all said and done, by the life of these turbines, you're talking $1 billion, and for not a very good return on electric, and not to mention that the utility cost increase that this is going, because now you have to have two systems, right? Because it doesn't always blow the wind. You have to have the turbines, always ripped and ready to go, and then you'll also have to have legacy electricity. So you have to keep the cost of two systems going, and it's just going to balloon the utility rates for the people that can at least afford it, quite frankly, who they say they're always for.
Everyone needs to check out Jonathan Lesser from the Manhattan Institute. Dr. Lesser did an analysis of this over on SaveJersey.com. I'll retweet it. It's going to be a nightmare. It's going to hit the pocketbook, as Chris is saying, for every ratepayer in New Jersey going forward. So not only are they going to ruin our coast and kill a bunch of marine mammals, you're going to have to pay for the privilege. So this is part of the reason why thin-skinned politicians like Paul Moriarty don't want to talk about this issue, because there's absolutely no defense for this issue. So, I mean, I'm a little biased, but I like your chances in November.
And just one more thing about that. The $200 million bailout for the foreign company, that was supposed to go into taxpayers of New Jersey's pockets. That was from the feds. That was supposed to help offset costs for utility, and they turned around and they gave that money to a foreign company. It's just mind-boggling.
Which is why they're making this tortured argument that somehow it's going to help us. But the very simple math demonstrates that it won't. Well, including the fact that we're going to have to pay to decommission these things. That's something that is always left out of this discussion.
Right.
Because we're going to have hurricanes, tropical storms. They're going to get busted up. They're going to need to be replaced. You and me and everybody that listening to this that lives on our side of the river is going to end up footing the bill. So these are only two of the big issues that are at stake this year, but they're going to be very prominent in the upcoming campaign. What am I saying upcoming? It's already very well underway. Yeah, and you're going to hear much more about it from Chris Del Borello, a young guy, a passionate guy, arguably the face of the Republican Party in South Jersey right now, along with our good friend Mike Testa and some others that are trying to push back against the Murphy agenda day in, day out. Where do we find you and your running mates online?
So you can find Del Borello, Walker, and Esposito online at southjerseychange.com. You'll see our plan on there. You'll see our bios. You'll see everything about us. So I just ask that people go to southjerseychange.com.
And that's what we're trying to do. It's always great when the website doesn't bury the lead, right? we need new leadership in South Jersey, and we're on the way. But it's vital not just for South Jersey, I have to say, because we have a lot of listeners on this program that are outside of South Jersey. It's important for our entire region, because if we have this nucleus of young leaders in South Jersey that are winning and winning the right way, it's going to provide an example beyond the borders of my little part of the world. And in your district, part of the reason why the Democrats want to destroy you guys, I mean, you're a young, telegenic family man. One of your assembly candidates, Mr. Walker, is black. Your other running mate, Ms. Esby, she's a teacher.
She's at NJEA, which didn't endorse her.
She just got dissed by the NJEA. So they're not endorsing one of their own here. So Ms. Esposito gets cold-shouldered. But that's why they're doing it, because a ticket like this, they're not supposed to be Republicans. This isn't who the left tells us the Republican Party is. So it cannot be allowed to stand. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at them this year. So definitely head over to their website, check them out, find out everything you can about this ticket. Chris Del Borello, we really appreciate you joining us, my friend, in the studio this evening for a sit-down. And as I said to Chairman Hugan before you came on, we're going to have to prevail upon you again in the future, before Election Day, to come back on here and give us an update.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd love that.
Awesome. Chris Del Borello, everyone, Republican nominee in the 4th Legislative District of New Jersey. If you live in Camden, Gloucester, Atlantic, you no longer have an excuse. We told you who's on the ballot this year, so get involved. A lot's riding on it. 855-839-1210 is the number here on the Matt Rooney Show. Unbelievably, 2 hours already in the can, but one impactful hour still to come, including one of the candidates in potentially one of the biggest Republican primaries of 2024 in Pennsylvania. You're not going to want to miss this. Back in just a moment.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Just a reminder, as I've been doing for years, about batteries plus bulbs in Mount Laurel and Northfield. My buddy Roy, this guy had the vision of old-fashioned customer service married with technology to build custom battery packs, smartphone repairs, game console repairs. Give him a call. Anything in the technology field, you'll get old-fashioned customer service and great technical skill. Call him at 856-638-0778. Batteries plus bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield stores.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
NASCAR champion Bobby Labonte here with my brother Terry and my nephew Justin. You know, every sport has its essential safety gear.
For racing, we wear helmets, fire retardant suits, and Nomex gloves.
For fishing, waterfowl hunting, and boating, we wear life jackets.
After an intense race, there's nothing more relaxing than bass fishing.
Or a little duck hunting on the lake.
But we're the first ones to tell you, on the track or on the water, accidents happen fast.
In a crash, there's no time to put on a helmet. And when a boater capsizes or is thrown from the boat, there's rarely time to reach a stowed life jacket.
But today's life jackets are lightweight and comfortable. Fishing or hunting, they don't get in your way.
That's why you won't catch a Labonte on the water without a life jacket.
Don't let us catch you either. Remember, you're in command. Boat safely.
This message brought to you by the United States Coast Guard. For more information on boating safety, visit www.uscgboating.org.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, what if phenomenal careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair? If being the captain of the robotics team means just as much on a college application as being captain of the football team. And if knowing the quadratic formula is every bit as important as knowing the right people. Well, the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. more opportunities, better pay. And the road to these great jobs starts as early as middle school. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Because the job you'll get in the future may very well depend on what you do today. A public service message from America's Navy.
Hey, shh. Listen. Do you hear that? It's your heart. Chances are you take that precious sound for granted. And if you're like a lot of Americans, 1/3 to be exact, you're not doing anything to prevent heart disease. So what if a cardiologist told you exactly how best to love your heart? Would you listen then? Go to clevelandclinic.org/loveyourheart and learn what really matters and what doesn't when it comes to that lovable heart of yours.
Hey, Paoli, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hour number 3 is on the way and underway here at the Matt Rooney Show on 1210 WPHT. I am the aforementioned Matt Rooney, your broadcast specialist this evening. And what a show it's been. Dan is literally shaking.
Do you keep
with adrenaline?
Do you keep like upping your chair? Like,
so it's funny you
raising
say
it?
that. I have not touched the lever on the side, but it does seem as if I've gotten taller, which I know
no,
that's
I just
not
gotta
possible.
keep adjusting your camera. I gotta zoom it out. I gotta zoom it in. It seems like you're adjusting the height.
I haven't touched it, Chief. I promise you.
Well, if you're adjusting
Maybe
it,
I'm just
don't.
sitting up straighter.
Well, if you're adjusting it, don't. Okay? That's my only warning to you, or else.
I don't get producer notes on this show. I get warnings. And you're man enough to just come out and say that they're warnings.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care.
Hey, bud.
I don't care.
I love hate you.
That's great. A lot of, I guess, interaction on the YouTube chat with that whole interview.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we got a lot of good interaction concerning Chris Del Borello.
The main question is, how do they go door to door? Like, how do they pick which doors to go to and all that kind of stuff? That's the main topic that they're talking about.
So the reason I didn't go to that question, just I want to apologize to everyone because I actually went on there and I commented and said, anybody have a question? It's because, A, we have limited time, and B, that's something that I can answer for you. So what a campaign will do, because you got to remember, in a district like Chris's, we're talking about thousands or even tens of thousands of potential voters, right? Because there's 40 districts in New Jersey, and there's over 9 million people in the state. So do the math, right? And you can do the math better than Dan, who can't figure out the whole 1/8 thing.
I don't even know. No, that's just not confirmed.
Use a calculator and confirm it.
But it's not confirmed that I'm 1/8, boss. Like, what are we doing here?
No, we don't. You and I are going to do for the fall, right? This will be like our fall welcome back thing.
23andMe?
You and I are going to do a 23andMe, and we're going to unveil the results live on air.
Are you paying for it?
Yeah, I will pay for it if you do it. Deal?
Okay.
Okay, there we go. You and I are going to do it. And we'll reveal. Maybe we'll even have Bella come in and reveal the results or something.
Well, we can do it. We'll do the test live on air, and then I don't know how long it takes to get back. But then when the results come back, we can reveal live.
I want somebody in a tuxedo with gloves to come and like open the envelope and.
Is it envelope or is it electronic?
Well, who cares? We can print it out and put it in an envelope.
Okay, we can also have it mailed to here too.
You're missing the point. I want to make it a thing.
I want it to be good radio.
Yes, that's what I'm suggesting. Okay.
All right, continue.
What were we even talking about? I don't even remember now.
Ballots.
Oh, so
not ballots, but how they go to.
How do they pick it? So what you do is you come up with a target universe. That's what they call it, and you say, okay, these are the people that if I reach out to them, reaching out to them increases the chance that they're going to go and show up at the polls. Right? These are people they pre-identify as being, susceptible, or maybe the better way to put it is disposed to support the Republican candidate. Because to the point I was making a minute ago before Dan and I got diverted, in a district like this, thousands, tens of thousands of people, there's no way to physically knock every door, or even in most cases, a majority of doors. And clearly, the bigger the race, the more the case. And that's not the only thing you're doing as a politician. You're calling people, you're raising money, you're going to fundraisers, you're doing all these other things. At some point, you have to sleep and eat. So you narrow it down to the doors that would be most impactful and the doors specifically where you want to remind those people to go and show up and vote. If you knock on doors strictly to persuade people, that's a way to lose an election. And think about that for a second, because you've got limited time as a candidate. So if you knock on every door and have a 30-minute conversation about abortion and tax rates in a neighborhood, how many doors are you going to hit between then and Election Day? Not a whole heck of a lot. So you're running for local office? In most towns, there's no excuse to not get to all or most of the universe, the households that should be voting for you. The bigger the race, like state legislature races, certainly congressional races, it gets harder to get to everyone. So if a candidate's not knocking on your door, I wouldn't take it personally. It's just math and the limitations of a campaign. They can't be in more places than one at any given time. We know the politicians can bend the rules of election law and ethics and everything else. They can't bend the rules of physics as much as they may try. 855-839-1210 is the number here on the Matt Rooney Show. As I said, we are in hour numero tres, the final hour of tonight's program, and we will be joined by Mark Houck later this hour. He is, of course, the pro-life activist that the Biden Justice Department targeted. Mark ultimately won in court. It was a major triumph for the rule of law against the weaponization of our federal government's law enforcement agencies. And he has now decided that he is going to throw his hat in the ring in Pennsylvania's 1st Congressional District and primary Brian Fitzpatrick, who, love him or hate him, he's one of the more moderate members of the Republican caucus down on Capitol Hill. So I think he was on Dom Giordano to talk about his run. It was a great interview.
He's on Dawn a lot, too.
Was he on Dawn?
I don't know if he was on Dawn. But
Dawn Stensland's program.
But I know that he's on Dawn's show a lot.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to having him on. We talked about coming on before, and we got jammed up because he had a flight that was a conflict with the time that we had talked about having him on. So we're glad it was able to work out for this week. And, of course, we'll try to fit in as much as we possibly can elsewise here in the final hour of tonight's show, including, if we want to kind of have a palate cleanser here at the beginning of the hour, we have Dan's fact of the week, which is usually factual. Are you ready, Daniel?
Usually factual. Keyword usually factual.
Usually.
Yes.
82%.
Is that what we're going with?
1/8.
Well, according to you, my approval rating for these are not very good. So.
No, they're not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm doing something a little different today.
Mixing it up. That could be a good thing.
I'm doing something a little different today.
It's allowed.
So today's fact also has a bit of a clip to go with it.
Oh. Hey now.
And it'll elaborate more than what I could do. But did you know? Are you familiar with cults?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, so you're familiar.
I've seen some Netflix documentaries.
Okay, so you're familiar with...
I've drank some Kool-Aid and worn some Nikes.
I was going to say, are you familiar with the People's Temple?
No, I'm not familiar with the People's Temple.
Are you familiar with the Jonestown Massacre?
I'm familiar with that.
Okay, well, that cult was the People's Temple.
Oh, is that what they were called?
Yes, they were called the People's Temple.
Okay.
I
didn't remember the name of the cult.
Yes. They had a basketball team.
Really?
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
And they were away at a game when the massacre happened.
So there were players from the cult that were away at the time they decided to kill themselves. So those particular members of the cult survived because they were playing basketball?
Was it really killing themselves?
Well...
Anyway,
point taken.
Someone, I guess, made a rap about it. So, enjoy.
The Jonestown Massacre was a horrible scene, except for the cult's official basketball team. They had an away game, so they were out of town, while Jim Jones served the points that took his whole cult down. Instead of Flavor Ray, they're drinking Gatorade. No time to off themselves, they had down. The scene was not pretty, but on the court the whole team took them to Block City. They were empty in the bench was empty at home. Over 900 deaths, but hey, that 2-3's home. They should have put them in a clinic. They were putting on a clinic. This that Death Valley troop for that fresh alley-oop. Their passion for hoops is why they survive. I guess it's true. Basketball saves lives. What?
So there you go.
That was fantastic.
You like that?
I liked that. That was one of your better finds.
Thank you.
Yes, you can go now. You. Okay. It's just going to be downhill from here.
As our good senator once said.
Good night, everybody.
All right.
Yeah, wrap it up. Wrap it on up.
So yeah, people stumbled a basketball team and they were away when everyone drank the Kool-Aid.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course, those people in the basketball team survived.
Sports saves lives.
Yeah.
Been saying it for years.
Can you imagine you go back to wherever in Jonestown, you're like,
hey guys, we won.
And you're like, why is everyone dead? And why is there over this amount of people?
It's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing.
Why are you laughing?
I
This is
don't-
terrible.
I don't-
This
I
is
don't
terrible.
know. I think it's one of those times in life where, like, what do you do, right? Like, you have to laugh because you just feel so weird about it.
This is terrible.
It's a horrible thing.
It's just like, it's just like one of those things where, hey guys, we won the game. It's the championship. Oh, wait. Why are you all dead?
Well, speaking of Colts.
Oh, God.
Speaking of Colts.
Oh,
There's another cult that's very prominent in American politics called Orange Man Bad. Have you heard of that one?
That's a cult?
It's a cult. It has a much larger membership than the Jonestown cult, though.
Is it just the Democrats?
It's pretty much. It's called the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
See, basically, Democrat history. They used to be part of another cult called the Ku Klux Klan. They've moved away from that. Now they are in the Orange Man Bad cult. The Democrat Party always has some preoccupation throughout history with one thing or another that is absolutely evil and deranged. Now, hating the Orange Man is that which orients everything with their ideology and how they view the world. And something I have detected, Dan, over the course of the past week, you look at these polls. There was one recent one that came out that had Trump ahead in 4 key battleground states, including Pennsylvania, which will ultimately decide 2024, assuming it's a rematch between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. His polling continues to be relatively strong, notwithstanding everything that's going on. I mean, anybody else that could be indicted in like 4 different states at one time and continue to be running even with the incumbent president of the United States? It's the panic. You can smell it. You can feel it. There is increased chatter on the left about whether or not they should sub in someone else for Joe Biden. Gavin Newsom is warming up in the bullpen out in California when they can keep the lights on. It's a little bit hard to practice in the dark, but he's doing the best he can. And then some of the stuff on over on the legacy media outlets is just, it's comically bad. They can't hide it right now. Let me give you a great example. Donnie Deutsch, who often behaves like something that sounds an awful lot like his last name. He was on MSNBC. I think he was on Morning Joe. Dumbest program. I shouldn't say that. The View is still worse than Morning Joe. But he had some comments concerning Donald Trump and what his victory would mean for the republic, for our democracy. And if you think Democrats think that they're in a strong position with Joe Biden, let me dissuade you of that right now. Listen to this clip.
Do you not understand that if Donald Trump wins, nothing else matters because it's over? Morning Joe might act, just to take a little example, Morning Joe might not exist anymore because Donald Trump has said, as all autocrats say, what they will do. And he said, if I'm elected, I want the FCC reporting directly into me. And he will cancel this show. I mean, you need to think that, excuse me, that extreme. It's over. Freedom is over if Donald Trump gets elected. It's that simple. No other issue matters. Every other issue sprinkles down from that. However you feel about the economy, however you feel about whatever issue you're dealing with, we turn into an autocracy. What our forefathers fought for 250 years ago is over. That's what's at stake at this election. Everything else is a subtext to that.
No more Morning Joe? Sounds like a reason to vote for Donald Trump to me, folks. I might try to vote twice. Democrats do it. Why can't we? I mean, it's deranged. It's absolutely deranged to go. Well, it's one of two things. It's either deranged or it's evil, right? Either you are so crazy that you actually believe that Donald Trump is going to shut down news programs if he's elected. I mean, that's proof of mental illness. Or you know that that's false, and you are willing to go on a national television program and lie with the apparent intent to scare people into voting the way that you want them to. There's only two options there: crazy or evil, or maybe a little bit of both, given who we're talking about here. A lot of barbecues coming up as the summer winds down, or at least the official summer season. Kids are going back to school soon. Labor Day right around the corner. I know my fellow Jersey Shore fans are sad to hear that, but it's almost upon us. When you're at that barbecue and your crazy liberal Aunt Susan or your socialist nephew John wants to tell you about how Donald Trump's a short loser, why is the Republican Party committed to losing in 2024, blah, 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 blah. You can look at the polls, and you can ascribe to them whatever significance you want to, because they're polls, right? And we all know how reliable they can be from cycle to cycle. But just listen to the fear and the panic and how desperate the left is already behaving, and we're only in August 2023. We're still months away from the first caucus or primary. It's all the evidence you need that this narrative that's being constructed around 2024 is just so false. This idea that Donald Trump clearly carries his baggage, right? I personally know people, and I'm sure most of the listeners in this audience do, who will not vote for Donald Trump. They will not do it. But what they forget to tell you are there are also voters out there who came out in 2020 and especially 2016 who will only show up and vote for Donald Trump. It's a much more complicated picture. And this idea that Trump 2.0 is an automatic loser for the GOP, there's no basis in reality for that, at least as we sit here today. 855-839-1210 is the number here at the Matt Rooney Show, should you wish to call in and participate. Also, remember, we're live over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Subscribe to the station, like the page. We're at, 17 right now? 17 likes. Let's see if we can get up to like 25. I'm going to channel my inner Greg Stocker here to try to push the number northward. And we'll be back in just a moment after a quick break to play some ads and make some money. Don't move a muscle.
Before the opening bell on Monday, contact David Bazar, Karen Bazar, or Brett Elam of Thrive Financial Services, 215-798-9088. Get on the original Roadmap to Retirement and get yourself educated about the tax benefits of a Roth IRA. It's your roadmap to retirement, and it starts by getting educated from advocates who will help you navigate your own roadmap to retirement. Leave a message at 215-798-9088.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Do you feel like you're always looking for another energy boost? Then try Rescue Orosine from Rescue Natural Supplements. As we age, our bodies don't tend to produce enough natural fuel to get rid of that stubborn feeling of fatigue. Well, Rescue Orosine provides just that. Orosine helps by boosting energy production at the cellular level while also supporting a healthy heart and blood pressure. Right now, our exclusive radio listeners can buy one bottle of Orosine, get another one free. Just use the code FUEL when placing your order. Call today, 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use the code online when you visit res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Make sure you mention the code FUEL, F-U-E-L, when you call, or use the code at the online checkout. Again, use the code FUEL when buying a single bottle of Orosine to receive a second bottle free.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Great Genesis cover.
You like it?
Yeah.
It's Ghost.
Is it? Oh,
It
okay.
is.
All right. We talked about them before.
It is.
I don't know anything about Ghost, but being a almost 40-year-old in the body of like a 56-year-old, big Genesis fan.
Yeah, I didn't know this was the cover at first.
Yeah. Pretty solid. You're going to see them, right?
I am.
When's that?
August 25th.
August 25th.
Camden.
Camden Waterfront.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you can borrow my Kevlar vest if you'd like.
Sure. I mean, it's it's a ritual. I don't think people are going to be they're going to be probably hailing Satan at this thing, but like that's fine.
Oh, just good old family fun.
Yeah.
Well, there's worse things happening in Camden every day. Trust me.
I just want to preface this. We're not actually hailing Satan. It's not actually a ritual. All right. I just want to put that out.
I think people know you're joking.
Okay. Well, people who don't know the band are going to be like, are they actually going to a ritual and hailing Satan? No, we're not. It's just they call their concerts rituals, and yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, you're too cynical to be like a worshiper of anything.
There's a whole story behind the band, and I it's really long, and I don't want to get into it, but like
yeah. Well, you should get one of these breakout podcasts that many of our producers at the station have. There's some pretty solid ones.
That just explains the backstory of the band.
Just explains you, and as a necessity of figuring you out, we'd have to talk about some of these things. Some of the bands you're into. Your obsession with Batman.
I'm into a lot of bands.
Which I included that Batman story for you in the stack today.
Yeah.
The late great, right? Let me pull this up here. Ray Liotta, who passed away. I guess it was a few years ago now. We lost Ray Liotta, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Fox News ran a story, I think earlier today, talking about how he had sat down with Tim Burton and turned down Batman in the 1989 classic, where, of course, Jack Nicholson co-starred as the Joker. Job ultimately went to Michael Keaton, which I think worked out just fine.
Greatest decision ever.
But Ray Liotta,
that
would have been that. Yeah, it's hard to envision.
That would have been bad casting, like George Clooney with the bat nipples or Val Kilmer. Those are terrible casting decisions.
We didn't need bat nipples.
We did not need bat nipples. We also didn't need George Clooney or Val Kilmer as Batman either.
No, we didn't.
We would have been fine with Michael Keaton and Christian Bale.
Michael Keaton had that quiet, broody thing going on.
Michael Keaton was an all-around great Batman.
So
was Christian Bale, great Batman.
He was.
Ben Affleck, terrible. He was a great Bruce Wayne, but terrible Batman.
Terrible Batman.
But he's still Batman in the Zack Snyder universe, which should never be a thing, and it should just die off the face of the earth. But that's just me.
Yeah, we need to have a podcast devoted to some of your opinions that we don't have time for here.
I have some hot takes, man.
You have some real hot takes.
Yeah, Bella said this Daniel lore. Yeah, pretty much. Thank you.
By the way, over in the chat, pretty active tonight. Chris wanted to ask Dan, can I call in and make Wookiee noises? No. You cannot. And it's not because I don't think that would be incredibly entertaining. It's just we don't have time for Wookiee noises. We have too much we have to fit in. We can have a night where people call in and they do bad impressions. Maybe we can arrange that at some point. Put a pin in it. Put a pin in it for now. 855-839-1210 is the number here at the station. Again, youtube.com/ at 1210 WPHT. Mark Houck coming up here in just a little while. But I have to touch on this tonight because I have to give everyone the update. If I didn't, I wouldn't be doing my job. I mentioned how Democrats are beginning to palpably freak out that Donald Trump is polling so competitively, despite the fact that they are indicting him in every possible state that they can. They thought this would work. It's, at least as of now, it's backfiring. The next thing they're clearly going to try to do is they're going to try to jail him. Just prepare yourself for that. One of these judges, at the behest of the Biden Justice Department, is going to make some kind of ridiculous claim about how he's saying things on Twitter in his own defense that are somehow dangerous to democracy. And they're going to try to put the Donald behind bars. So he's going to have to, and I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, he's going to have to pick a running mate, I think, sooner than candidates traditionally do, for the remarkable reason, and I can't believe I have to say this, he might get jailed at some point, and need someone, whether it be, Dan's boy Ramaswamy or whoever else, to carry the banner forward for him if he's unable to do so himself. Again, I feel bizarre even saying it, but that's where we are right now with this insane universe we occupy where the Justice Department has been completely weaponized. Meanwhile, Democrats on the Hunter Biden front continuing to spin like tops. I'll give you an example. He was on CNN with Jake Tapper. Do you remember Representative Dan Goldman, that guy who his defense of Joe Biden allegedly being on 20 phone calls with Hunter and Devin Archer and their business associates? Because, they're just talking about the weather. Yeah, they're just talking about what the weather is over in, whatever the heck country they're making money off of, Kiev or whatever. Ridiculous. The guy became a punchline overnight. He somehow they still think it's a good idea to send him out there to talk to the press, and some of his excuses truly remarkable. This is cut 10. This is Democrat Representative Dan Goldman saying that Hunter Biden's sweetheart plea deal broke down because of the Orange Man.
So even though I'm sure Hunter Biden has confidence that David Weiss will not charge him with additional crimes, they have no confidence that if Donald Trump wins, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice to charge Hunter Biden, go back and charge him. And that's why this plea agreement has broken down, because of the threat of Donald Trump's weaponization of the Department of Justice if he were to become president.
This guy I was just going to say he needs to stop talking. I want him to keep talking.
I don't want to share a name with him. That's as simple as that.
You're saying that he ruins it for all Dans.
He does.
I know how you feel. Can I tell you what the equivalent is for me, even though it's not a partisan issue? When I meet a Matt who spells their name with one T, why would you want to spell your name the same way as the thing? Right, and you wipe your feet on.
Yeah. That's
why
insulting.
would you want to make it? Yes, it's defies all logic and reason. Much like what's going on right now with U.S. Attorney David Weiss and Hunter Biden, and this decision this week, since we were last on the air with all of you ladies and gentlemen, to appoint a special counsel to investigate. Normally, when a special counsel gets investigated, what can you infer? You can infer that the law enforcement authorities are taking the particular issue very seriously. So seriously that they're worried about any possible appearance of impropriety if a special independent counsel weren't appointed to investigate the matter. Here, this is transparently not about the investigation. They don't want an investigation. What they are trying to do is they are trying to find a way to short-circuit the investigation into Hunter Biden's activities overseas because it represents a clear and present danger to Biden 2024. And again, you don't have to take your old pal Matt's word for it. Just listen to Democrat surrogates like Dan Goldman spinning like a top out there. And, of course, Merrick Garland can't answer any questions about this. First, they're telling us that Mr. Weiss, who oversaw that sweetheart deal that the judge spiked in Delaware, had all the tools he needed to investigate this independently. Now, all of a sudden, we need a special counsel? Why? Even CBS News, a legacy media outlet, is wise to this, and they're reporting it. And I think that these are the dominoes that are starting to drop. This is Cut 5. This is CBS correspondent Catherine Herridge.
A former federal prosecutor I spoke to just before this event said to me the appointment of a special counsel would have the effect of delaying a resolution on the Hunter Biden matter, in his opinion. And it would certainly delay any anticipated testimony from the U.S. attorney in Delaware to Republicans on Capitol Hill who have been seeking that testimony for several months. So it's an extraordinary development considering where the two parties were 2 weeks ago to wrap up this years-long case, now to the appointment of a special counsel that will have these broad authorities, most importantly, to continue this ongoing investigation, Margaret.
Catherine, and it really is interesting given that it was June 7th the U.S. attorney said he had ultimate authority, and then again had said that, to Congress that he felt he had that, and now this Tuesday says, I need some independence to go further into this investigation.
When CBS can't or won't cover for the Biden administration, you know that the crisis is real. Forget the climate crisis for a second or whatever they're calling it this week. The Hunter Biden crisis is growing, and Joe's not going to be able to run away from this one, not easily. You're listening to Matt Rooney and the Matt Rooney Show. Let's take a break, and when we return, we're going to talk to a man who, again, knows quite a bit about the crookedness of the Biden Justice Department. He is Mark Houck, pro-life activist and a candidate for Congress in 2024. Back in a sec.
Don't miss The Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
Together,
we stand up to cancer.
On Saturday, August 19th, join Stand Up to Cancer.
So just stand up with us.
Tune in Saturday, August 19th at 8, 7 Central on ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC. For more ways to watch, visit standuptocancer.org.
Hey, Riverton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Thank you.
If U.S. Attorney Weiss had the authorities he needed, why does he need to be a special counsel? Do you still have faith in U.S. Attorney Weiss after the deal fell apart?
Answering no questions, Merrick Garland. Matt Rooney here on the Matt Rooney Show, talking in the prior segment before we went on break about the decision to appoint a special counsel in the investigation into Hunter Biden and his various activities. They're doing what the Biden Justice Department does. Hide the football. They penalize people that don't toe the company line, that challenge this administration. And then on the other hand, they have to try to do what they can to cover for the president's son and his many crimes, which it looks like increasingly go all the way to the top. As I promised, let's talk to a man who knows more than most and has suffered more than most because of the weaponization of the federal government's law enforcement arms under the Biden administration. Mark Houck, you know him, especially if you're in the Delaware Valley, but even if you're not, you followed this story nationally. He's a pro-life father of 7 kids. He was acquitted back in the winter, I believe it was January, in federal court after he was charged and accused of violating the Freedom of Access to Clinic and Entrances Act, one of these euphemistic constructions of an act or a law that sound reasonable, but ultimately when you delve into the whole thing, I mean, clearly it's an attempt to, weaponize anybody, or I should say criminalize anybody that wants to speak out against abortion. And they use this law to try to put Mark away for a long, long time. He subsequently was successful, though, at trial. He succeeded in court. He beat the Biden Justice Department, which not many can say. And now he is apparently wading in to 2024. Let's find out why and hear from the man himself. Mark, welcome to the Matt Rooney Show. You're a regular at this station, but this is your inaugural appearance with us. We appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, Matt. It's been a long time coming for you and I, but happy to finally get on the air with you.
Yeah, you're a celebrity in this region, and we've got some mutual friends, and I had people telling me, you got to have Mark on, but he's got a lot going on, right? When you're not fighting off the Biden administration, now you've decided to jump into this contest in 2024. Let me hit you with it directly.
Sure.
You've been through quite a lot in your life. I think that's probably the understatement of the century. Your family was through a lot because of how you were discriminated against by the Biden administration.
Sure.
The one thing that might be close to as difficult is the scrutiny of a congressional campaign. What made you decide to throw your hat in the ring in the 1st District?
Sure. Well, I've been in the district my whole life, and frankly, it wasn't something I planned. And prior to the trial, people were encouraging me to run. I dismissed it, and then, after the acquittal on January 30th, my own attorney was encouraging me to run, Brian McMonagle. So people of tremendous influence in my life were asking me to pray about it, thinking about it. And, of course, after 20, 30 people start asking you, then you say to yourself, maybe someone's trying to get my attention here. So we did take it to some prayer. And my wife and I, and this past month, we really put it to that request of God, and we felt like He was calling us. So, as of last week, we launched HouckForCongress.com, and here we are. We're in the race to unseat the incumbent, Brian Fitzpatrick, who is I know the Fitzpatrick family. I've known them for years, but he's going for his fourth term, and I think it's time for a change, and I think we can do better for the first district.
It is true the Fitzpatricks have been around for a long time. I actually, when I was in college, campaigned for the late Mike Fitzpatrick,
Sure.
who was a very nice guy. Came up, I think it was actually, well, it's going back too far because he was around for a while. And, yeah, I mean, it does illustrate your point that the Fitzpatricks are mainstays of politics in southeastern Pennsylvania. On the substantive front here, which policies in particular do you take issue with, or where you think he's failed the voters of your neck of the woods? We know that he's a fairly moderate member of Congress. Some may say he's a pretty liberal Republican. What do you take issue with?
Well, sure. I mean, look, I voted for Brian every opportunity that I had to vote, and not because I fully thought that Brian was going to represent me well. I just didn't really have another option that I thought was better. So at this point, and that's not to disparage anybody that ran against him. It just was what I thought. But that said, obviously we can talk the pro-life thing all day. He's not voting that way, but that's not the main reason why I'm running. I'm running because there's so many things that the first district and the constituents are looking for beyond just that issue. And we'll start with immigration for one. We need to have a vote towards closing the borders and getting that right and setting the record straight there like it was 4 years ago. We need to not fund abortion in the military. We have Tommy Tuberville, who's holding out in the Senate, and of course Brian voted for that. And really, it's not an issue in the federal level much because of the Dobbs case, but certainly I would not support that. I would support the Hyde Amendment. I'm all about the Second Amendment. Brian's got like a 0% NRA rating. I want to protect that right. I'm a big supporter of the NRA, and I'm a big supporter of people having the right to bear arms. I'm also a big supporter of finding out where all the money's going over in Ukraine and not taking money out of PA taxpayers' wallets and paying for a bill where it's not really going to support the people of Ukraine. So, look, he's on that committee, and that might be the biggest thing between he and I is that he's all about sending billions of dollars over there while Americans over here can't even put look, that might be the biggest departure between he and I. But we could get into more issues. I'm certainly supportive of parental rights, the transgender issues that are invading our public schools. I want to protect girls on the playing field. I don't want what happened in Loudoun County to happen in Bucks County. And you know what? It is almost dangerously close to happening. So we want to make sure we get legislation instituted and policy that will support that from never happening, ever coming near our girls in the locker room. And I have 4 girls of my own, so it's near and dear to my heart.
You have the credential, and we mentioned abortion and being pro-life a minute ago. You're a pro-life activist. You've got chops on this issue. I don't think anybody can deny this now, even if maybe they try to do it before. It's been said over and over again, and there's this continuous drumbeat from the left and even some on the right that say that Republicans have overreached with stuff like the heartbeat bill down in Texas and Florida, that they've moved too far from the center on this issue, and it's gonna get them in the election next year when voters go to the poll to pass judgment on all these federal races. What do you think the Republican message should be from a practical point of view? What the policy Republicans should be advocating for on abortion, not just in terms of what's right, which is always what's most important, but what could actually rally Americans, win the election, and move the discussion in the right direction?
Sure. I think everything begins with the dignity of the human person. So, if we get that right, we're going to be right on all the issues. If we put people first, right, and that includes preborn children, if we put them first and their rights under the Constitution, protected rights, I think we just have to go back to faith, family, and freedom. This is our campaign slogan, if you will. We need to restore that. Our founding fathers were all about providence, and we can't forget that our country was founded on faith. And then, of course, the family, the breakdown of the human family, the crisis in fatherhood. Look, if we start seeing the abortion issue through the lens of fatherhood, that issue goes away. So how about Republicans talking about crisis in fatherhood? You fix the crisis in fatherhood, there's no need for an abortion. How about that for a platform? I think that might be the way to go, and I'd be the first to want to put that forward. How do we support dads and fathers to be good men and good husbands? I run a men's ministry for 20-plus years, so I know a thing or two about that. And then finally, the freedoms that we all, totally have experienced in my family in particular, a violation of, where the government has literally come in and brought tyranny into my home, dictatorships. We felt that come into our home, right? I mean, I want to go to D.C. I want to defend for our constituents here in the 1st District all the things that they took away from me, right? I don't want anyone to ever experience, not only in our district, but in this country, what happened to me. So I want to go to D.C. to protect the basic freedoms and rights of the American people. And we'll do that for the 1st District for sure. But we'll certainly support, and I would love to get on the weaponization committee so that when Merrick Garland, if Joe Biden gets elected again, when he comes again before that committee, I'm there. And I'm on that committee, and I can share the narrative that he cannot refuse or Director Wray can refuse. So I hope that answers your question as regards to, how we take this approach. But
you may have sold me just the idea of you getting to question Merrick Garland. I think people would pay for tickets to see that. Mark Houck, everyone, noted pro-life activist, stood up to the Biden administration, now throwing his hat in the ring, running for Congress this year in Pennsylvania. Awesome to finally have you on the program, and we got to do it again soon as the race progresses.
Oh, I hope so. Thanks, Matt, for all you're doing, and thanks for having me on the show tonight.
Likewise. Keep it up. Mark Houck, everyone, here on the Matt Rooney Show. That's going to be one to watch, Daniel. It's going to be a barn burner. Yeah, it's going to get national attention, too, given both men's profiles. So we will be talking more about that in the weeks and month to come. But I'll tell you what we're going to be talking about right now. Easily the most regretted, by me, segment here every week on the Matt Rooney Show. We turn the program now over to Dan. What's it called?
Hey, guys, gather round. Gather round.
It's Twit Talk time.
Dan curates content from the internet. It's depraved. Some of it's funny.
Yeah.
And there are pieces of it, aspects of it I just don't even understand.
So over in the YouTube comments, Lucy Lou said at least a whale sound. So
because we're not going to do any Chewbacca noises.
Correct.
Any Wookiee noises. Yeah.
There's your whale sound.
There you go. Which is kind of Wookiee-esque.
Unless you want to do it live. Okay, well, that one just sounds like it's... Okay, never mind.
Well, that's the whale after they run into the turbine.
Yeah, okay. All right. This one, I'm gonna start out with this one just because I think I'm going to use this one personally. I think this is a fun one. It's really great. A trans woman, trans person is describing what fun things you should call your little man stick down there.
Ooh, okay. Starting out with well, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If you're a trans girl who still has the parts that she was born with, I want to know what you like to call those parts. My personal favorites are Sheenus and Princess Wand.
A Sheenus and a Princess Wand. Personally, I like Princess Wand the most, so I might start using it.
Can I? Well, yes.
But Sheenus is also pretty good.
Two comments. Yes, both are amazing. Secondly, what is with the background music?
It's the weekend.
For these guys talking about their, but...
Blinding Light, I think.
But what makes you think that is Sheenus music? Music to talk about your lady wand to. I would like to see a video with just one of these people talking about, this is why I chose the music.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I think I'm going to start referring to my my wiener as a sheenus, though.
This is the stuff.
Oh, Bella votes Princess Wand. Okay.
Princess Wand.
Okay, that one was also pretty good.
Very brief moment of seriousness here. This is the stuff they want in your kid's school. Yeah. And they just don't want to talk about it with like 17-year-olds. They want to talk about it with 7-year-olds.
I mean, Princess Wand's pretty good. If I had a son or a daughter and they said, "Hey, we're learning about Princess Wands," I'd be like, "That's hysterical," but also like, no.
That's funny, and also I'm pulling you out, and putting you in private school.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what? You could at least, Princess Wand or Sheenus. Again, funny, but like, nah.
Yeah.
This going off of the whole trans thing. This guy, I think I'm gonna assume it's a guy. It sounds like a guy. Looks like a guy. Must be a guy, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He can't get pregnant for one specific reason.
Hey everybody, I got some bad news. Doctor just called. I can't get pregnant. I don't have an uterus.
You don't have an uterus.
He
so
doesn't have an uterus.
So he can't get.
Oh man.
He can't get pregnant.
What are you gonna do when you got no uterus and a princess wand to work with? What's a guy gal to do?
As as I used to say back in the olden days, when I was younger.
The olden days.
And we didn't know what somebody was. We used to call it a shim.
Yeah, I'd imagine that would probably trigger some people in 2023.
A shim. I mean, this was like
get yourself canceled.
When I was younger, we didn't. We were looking at someone. Mm-hmm. My mom got me into the whole people watching thing. So, and I try to think of their backstories as well. And sometimes they're like, that's a shim. Because I can't tell if it's a man or a woman, so.
Well, there used to be a skit on Saturday Night Live about Pat, who was androgynous.
Yeah.
It used to be comedy.
Yeah.
And now it's, reality for a lot of people.
Actually, we'll start a...
Bizarre times, Daniel. Bizarre times.
Yeah. Sheenus or Princess One, put it in the YouTube comments.
Yeah, that should have been the show's almost over, but that could have been a poll.
I'll do a poll now.
Yeah.
All right.
Sheenus or Princess Wand?
Yeah. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Are you putting that up now?
Yeah.
Well, how long is this going to take?
It's done.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Why don't we do that more often if it's that easy?
I don't know. There's really no good poll questions.
I'm voting for Sheenus.
Okay. All right. You can vote for Sheenus.
Princess Wand is already in the lead, though. I knew I was going to lose, but...
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know how old Dianne Feinstein is?
Oh, I'm pretty sure she was there for the Lincoln assassination.
Well,
she's pretty...
Well, this guy decided to take on TikTok and put together a little compilation of things...
You were still thinking about that nipple Batman suit. That's what happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He decided to... I'm sorry. I lost my train.
I threw you. Sorry.
I lost my train. He put together a compilation of things that are older than Senator Feinstein.
Things invented after Dianne Feinstein was born. If you close one eye and then squint the other one and rock back and forth, she doesn't look a day over 89. Dianne Feinstein is older than the San Francisco 49ers, the atomic bomb, the ballpoint pen. She's 5 years older than the ability to photocopy. She's older than the creation of Spider-Man. Matter of fact, she's older than the creation of Marvel Comics as a whole by about 6 years. So take every one of your favorite Marvel superheroes, and she's older than all of them grouped together. Smells like chocolate chip cookies. Really put it into perspective. Dianne Feinstein's parents were doing the... before World War II even started. Oh yeah, she's older than the Harry Truman administration. And remember guys, these videos are not an endorsement of any party, not an endorsement of a political candidate. Rather, an endorsement of the idea that we need term limits. I'm Batman. Oh yeah, she's older than Superman too.
Just statements of fact. Older than the ballpoint pen. My God.
Yeah.
It is sad too, right? Because it's been said before on this program many times, in the context of Mr. Fetterman. But what kind of family lets their loved one just completely make a fool of themselves like this? Like, where is the dignity in illness or in age? It just doesn't exist. They care way more about their agenda and whatever other interest they have than protecting their loved ones from ridicule. There's a special place in hell. That's all I gotta say.
This tees me up for the perfect segue. Speaking of bat nipples and the T word.
Speaking of bat nipples.
And the T word.
Tonight's been the night of forced segues, by the way. I think you and I, between the two of us, have been speaking of at least 7 times.
Yeah.
But it's all right.
I mean, the morning show says the quiet part out loud multiple times.
Yes,
so.
they do.
Yeah. Some guy decided to take it and say that here's what he would do if his significant other had a boob job. And this is what he would do.
You know what? If my girl ever gets a boob job, I'm going to slip the doctor an extra couple $1,000 just so I can throw in a clown horn. I can give those badonks a few honks, you know what I'm saying? Talk about...
He forgot to mention he's also single.
Yeah, as of I
mean, a clown horn is better than a princess wand, though.
I mean, Sheenus and Princess Wand both got 50%, so not everyone voted, which they should have. So.
Oh, is it over?
Yeah, I ended it.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, I mean, we should have just stuffed the ballots, you know?
Yeah, can I still vote again?
No.
All right, well.
Yeah.
Unresolved.
So if you want
heading to a recount.
So if you want to have fun, do it. You know?
Yeah, that'll go over well.
Yeah.
You tried that, Dan.
Yeah, I will. Bella.
You have no teeth left.
Did you hear the moon has cancer?
That's sad.
The moon and the sun both have cancer.
Is it treatable?
I don't know.
There's just a new moon in Cancer happening right now, so the sun and the moon are both in Cancer.
The sun and the moon have cancer?
Was that laughter or tears?
It was tears.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Poor, sweet, stupid person.
I think it was a joke, by the way.
Yeah, okay. It's always hard to tell.
The sun and the moon have cancer? Yeah. This one's it's a New Jersey Turnpike issue. Because, you know, you live in the good old Garden State.
I do.
And you have...
Remember, we are New Jersey.
Thank you.
I love New Jersey.
Thank you again. And, yeah, she has an issue with the New Jersey Turnpike. Apparently they're...
Who doesn't?
They're charging her for the Turnpike that she wasn't even on. And she doesn't live in New Jersey.
They were charging her for a part of the Turnpike she wasn't on?
Like, she wasn't on the Turnpike?
So she was billed for someone else's...
Correct.
Fare. Okay.
Correct.
Honestly, New Jersey, I'm not messing with you. I got a legal notice in the mail from the state of New Jersey. I live in Kentucky. It's from their turnpikes, from the Easy Pass, okay? I haven't driven in New Jersey years, ho. The last time I was in New Jersey was...
Also, why does everyone enunciate New Jersey? Like, why is that a thing?
Yeah, why do people lean into it hard? That's a good question. Maybe because they think that's what we do?
Do you do that?
I don't think so. New Jersey.
I
think we hit new harder than Jersey.
Phil Murphy does it.
Remember, we are New Jersey.
Because he's from Massachusetts. He's not authentic.
New Jersey. Okay. Well, we continue.
At the beginning of the year, whenever I flew into Newark to go to New York City, and I didn't even drive there. So anyways, I get this legal notice in the mail saying that I sped on the Easy Pass or something. I don't know. I owe money, apparently. So I look and I inspect this vehicle. It's a Chevy Equinox, okay? I don't drive a Chevy Equinox. I drive a 2013 Jeep Wrangler. So I inspect this photo a little bit more. Their license plate is 1 digit off from mine, but they changed it to the digits of my license plate. Who's f***ing with me? Their license plate ends in 92, and they said that it ended in 02, which is my license plate. And now this bill is registered to me! How did they not see that when they did this, that this license plate number that they put in, which was incorrect, was registered to a Jeep Wrangler, and this isn't a Jeep Wrangler? What do they think? It's a stolen plate? I'm so confused. I'm not paying.
There you go.
I am so sorry that that's happening to you. Man, that's some anger.
How does that even happen?
Yeah, I mean, you consider how many people traverse the Turnpike.
That they changed the license plate?
Well, that's the thing I don't understand about her story. Is she saying that they actually went in and manually changed it from the one that it actually was?
I guess. These things with TikTok, they don't explain everything.
They
They're
don't.
like, like for part 2. Like, no.
Yeah, like
post it now.
Now. I want it immediately.
I don't want to go into the comments. I don't want to say, oh, here's part 2, and it still doesn't explain it. They're 10. You could have up to 10-minute videos. Explain it.
You go, sister.
What is with Gen Z and not explaining anything?
I don't know. Explain your generation.
Why are we burying the lead?
Always messing around, not giving all the necessary information, waving their princess wands around.
It's ridiculous.
I would like to know more information. In the off chance, I mean, I guess she's from Kentucky, so she's probably not listening to the show. But I'd be very curious to know what exactly happened.
Probably no idea the station even exists.
No.
I mean, I can reach out to her and be like, "Yo, come on and explain
this to you." I'd like to know. I'd like to know what happened.
We have a resident Jersey person, so
yes, I would be. This is my occupational interest here.
Yeah, and well, that's all I got for you.
It was pretty good, though.
That's all I got for you.
It was solid.
You think so?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Good. Glad you liked it.
There was no Theo Von, but
there was no Theo Von that I came across this week. So like,
that's all right. Don't force it.
I was like, we need to,
absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Exactly.
Well, folks, it's been another fun one. Thank you for listening to the Matt Rooney Show or watching the Matt Rooney Show on YouTube. No Matt Rooney Show next week. We have actually a guest filling in. I will be out, and I'll explain why when I come back. But until we are once again together, stay safe, stay sane, and keep fighting for this greatest nation in God's creation. It's worth it.
Back on top in June.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto